What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 11 MHA Chapter 251 Wang Chi is crazy? Bitcoin Bank? A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. The arrival of Hoda Thunder makes the action of the Ancient Tower Wizard a little difficult, but because of the superior strength of the Ancient Tower Wizard, how can it be blocked by the second emperor such as Hoda? With a wave of the skeleton scepter, the dense thunder and lightning immediately moved to the underground heroes. Some of the weaker ones fell directly to the ground by these thunder and lightning, and then were killed by the Wu people. Hoda, what are you going to do? An underground heroes roared in the crowd. Several people were already dead on their side, all of them were struck by lightning. Hoda did not expect that the Ancient Tower Wizard was so strong that he could redirect his attack. At this moment, he did not dare to strike thunder and lightning, and he was far away from the Ancient Tower Wizard's attack range. After Iron Man learned of the power of the Ancient Tower Wizard, he changed his direction to deal with others. Time passed quickly, and there were fewer and fewer Wu people in the melee, and only 70 or 80 were left. Basically, several underground heroes dealt with the Wu people, so the Wu people would be killed soon. If it were not for the personal strength of the Ancient Tower Wizards surpassed the underground heroes, otherwise the wizards would die extremely quickly. The whole army is attacking, the king said at this moment. It was at this time that Lear was waiting, and immediately shouted, the whole army is attacking. The rumbling voice sounded, the horn blew at this moment, and the battle of the country began. All the admiral troops rushed into the battlefield of the underground heroes with their men and began to fight. The direction of the wind changed for a while, and the underground heroes who had been suppressing the Wu clan were instantly suppressed, and the pressure increased in vain. In just 10 minutes, 70 or 80 underground heroes died, and more than 800 people became more than 700 people. Most of the dead are the Seven Saints. Hesha, let's take part in the fight, too. It's good to do a bit of effort. The lazy man sighed. Although he knew that he was rushing to kill him, he had to rush. He spent his entire life in the prison, and he was not as happy to die on this battlefield. Moreover, he is the strength of the Admiral Army, and no one can kill him. Bisha nodded and was about to rush out. Chi Feng immediately stopped her. I promised to take you to the earth, you don't move here. Then Chi Feng turned his head and said to the people behind him, let's fight too. Everyone try their best to team up and cooperate with each other. The number of villain is large, so be careful. Until this moment, Chi Feng's number 40 or 50 people rushed out to fight. All of a sudden, the battlefield was extremely splendid, and there were all kinds of tricks, one after another. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The sky is broken and the earth is cracked. Jia Wen IV of the second god group took down the steel thorn behind him, swooped down from the sky, and plunged into the crowd of soldiers from the country in an instant. The earth exploded and sank instantly. The dozens of soldiers from the country were directly buried in the ground by this blow. Jia Wen IV turned the steel thorns inserted on the ground, and the surrounding ground instantly rotated like a mixer. The soldiers of the country from the underground screamed. Then blue blood penetrated from under the soil, and the whole army was wiped out. The shield in the hands of the American captain is like a sharp cutter, cutting off the heads of the people of the country, and at the same time it can play a defensive role. The Bone Sovereign pulled off his spine directly, and the spine turned into a sword, smashing into the crowd of Leguo. The man with his foot on the flame wheel shuttled among the soldiers of the country, and the red-tasseled spear in his hand quickly pierced out. At this time, the god Zhang Zia shouted, Neza, don't be overwhelmed. I know the old man. The man named Neza retreated immediately. A black leopard appeared. On the leopard, a black-clothed man wandered among the soldiers of the country with a long sword in his hand, killing them decisively. This person is also a person in the enfeoffment. Although the people on the underground heroes are very strong, but there are too many soldiers in the country. 4 or 5,000 people have only died more than 100, and many soldiers have crushed them. Chi Feng knew that this was not the solution. He suddenly heard something. A smile was drawn from the corner of his mouth, and he took out something from the spatial warehouse. After pulling out the hoop, Chi Feng threw out the green grenades, which were all thrown into the crowd. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and the soldiers of the country were blown apart by the grenade, even if they were physically strong. As soon as Chao Beichao killed a soldier of the country, he saw Chi Feng's behavior and immediately smiled. This kid really knows how to play. There are still a lot of ammunition in the Chi Feng space warehouse. These are all stolen from the base of Yan Phoenix Johnston, but they are used at this moment. At this moment, Yanwang Jones was reaping the lives of Yanwang soldiers. After seeing Chi Feng's actions, the corners of his eyes also twitched. He naturally knew that the grenades used by Chi Feng belonged to him. The battle situation has undergone some subtle changes because of Chi Feng, and the number of people who died is far more than that of the underground heroes. Foy is also killing people crazy at this moment. This feeling is so wonderful. In the real world, he can't activate the quirk. Once the quirk is activated, it is easy to lose himself, but here, there is no need to consider this. As long as it is a soldier of the country, he will kill directly. King Chi didn't feel well. Although he punched a soldier of the country, he was a little weak. The side effect of his quirk has not found a solution so far, so it is really not suitable for fighting. The more and more they fought with the Admiral Army, they became more and more frightened. They have already died several Admiral Army here. How could these humans be so strong, and the means of combat are also endless? If this continues, so many soldiers in their country will die. If all the soldiers of the country are dead, not to mention conquering the earth, they're going to be over. King, please give us the holy light, they're too powerful, Haley shouted immediately, and it won't work anymore. The king also realized the seriousness of the matter. They killed 500 to 600 soldiers in a short time. If this continues, let alone conquer the earth, they will not be able to kill all the humans in front of them. The king stood up, stretched his hands, and then suddenly closed. The golden jewels around his neck suddenly emitted golden ripples and flew towards every soldier of the country. The soldiers of the country became stronger in this holy light. King Chi immediately noticed the aura and resilience in the light. He rushed over without hesitation and knocked down one of them. Soldier, the holy light fell on King Chi and was snatched away by King Chi. Ha ha ha. Chi Wang suddenly laughed wildly, his face almost distorted. Underground heroes thought King Chi was crazy. Villain's strength became stronger after being illuminated by this strange golden light, and he was still giggling. Successful, I succeeded. Chi Wang burst out laughing, an invincible belief emerged spontaneously. The side effects of his quirk were directly eliminated, and now he is back to a zero-based state. If he gets the golden gem from the king of the country, it means that he will not be disturbed by side effects in his entire life. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. What is the most common plastic surgery in Korea? Ad. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad chapter 252 Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. With the golden light of the king shining, all the soldiers in the country seemed to become stronger in an instant. Originally, the underground heroes had to occupy a position of suppression, but now they have been suppressed. In just 10 minutes, dozens of people died on the underground heroes' side. Following this trend, it won't take long for the underground heroes to be wiped out. You hide with the familiar seven saints, the next battle is not suitable for you to participate in the battle. Chi Feng came to Kurosawa Yiren and said. Kurosawa wanted to retreat a long time ago, and now Chi Feng said that he immediately nodded and said, leave this to me, be careful yourself. Then Kurosawa went to Shirayuki and the others immediately. At this moment, Chi Feng saw King Chi rushing into the camp of the soldiers of the country, and saw that he killed the soldiers of the country with one punch, and he was invincible. At this moment, King Chi is already in the imperial realm. He has been stuck in the first saint for several years. If it weren't for the side effects of quirk, he would have entered the imperial realm a long time ago. At this moment, the king of the country was shining to the holy light by accident, so that King Chi was rescued and his strength greatly increased. In the blink of an eye, more than 100 soldiers of the country had been hit by King Chi. The Gouda wizard and the king both noticed this perverted guy, and no matter who hits him, it's a punch. This person must be killed. The ancient tower wizard became anxious, and slew towards King Chi, with the skeleton scepter in his hand emitting a black light, rushing towards the underground heroes in all directions. Some of the underground heroes that were hit by the black light immediately turned black all over and finally died. King Chi is not good at dealing with this kind of witchcraft. He is only suitable for close combat. The ancient tower wizard kills him, he immediately turned his head and ran, and rushed into the soldiers of the country. The Gouda wizard immediately acted, and the death light rushed towards King Chi. King Chi reacted quickly. He grabbed a soldier of the kingdom of Jin and stood in front of him. The death light penetrated into the soldier of the kingdom of Wei and died before long. Up. The Gouda wizard was furious and attacked King Chi frantically, but King Chi was wandering among the soldiers of the country like a loach, and all the dead light shot by the Gouda wizard was blocked by the soldiers he grabbed. In this way, the ancient pagoda wizards are all slaying people, and there have been dozens of them so far. Generals, grab this guy, Gouda wizard shouted. She was running out of time. Those admiral soldiers have seen the ferocity of King Chi a long time ago, so how dare they come forward to fight? Even if they are favored by the holy light, it is impossible to catch that guy so easily. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. In short, whoever goes up first will die first. These admiral troops are not stupid. Regardless of their unity on the surface, they are actually scared to death when they really fight. The most important point is that the people on Earth are too fierce. If the Earthlings were weaker, they would naturally be willing to catch them personally, but the Earthlings were so fierce that the country would be in jeopardy, no matter where the overall situation was concerned. There are now a bunch of admiral troops from different factions. No matter how angry the ancient tower wizards roar, few admiral troops are willing to listen to her, because the ancient tower wizard killed many soldiers of the country just now. Seeing that no one listened to her, but her own subordinates died and injured, the ancient tower wizard suddenly stopped chasing, and flew to the head of the golden lion sculpture outside the city wall. What happened to the ancient tower wizard? Some admiral troops looked at the ancient tower wizard in doubt. Why suddenly fly so high? I don't know, is there any big trick? Admiral Army said, rubbing his chin. In the distance, the Admiral army always felt that something bad had happened. A bunch of rubbish, dare not to listen to me. The ancient tower wizard's face suddenly became grim. The time is almost up. From the beginning to the end, the king did not do it himself. From the beginning of the battle to the present, he saw everything in his eyes. The ancient tower wizard was suspicious and there must be a problem. Sure enough, I can't help it now. Not long after the ancient tower wizard finished speaking, the soldiers of the country fell one by one without a fight, and more than 2,000 people had fallen in an instant. Coupled with those killed by the underground heroes, the only admiral soldiers who are still standing in the country are now. Gouda wizard. Why are you doing this for? King Saint V looked at the ancient tower wizard and said, is the treatment our country gives you not good enough? Basically, you can enjoy everything I can enjoy. Why do you want to betray me? The underground heroes breathed a sigh of relief. This battle was too difficult to fight. If this continues, they really won't be able to hold on for long. The only regret is that this poison is not effective for people with strength above the admiral army, so you idiots are really lucky. Gouda wizard GG said with a smile. The ancient tower wizard did not continue to pay attention to Horda, for the person who scolded her old witch was already on her death list. What the hell is going on? The admiral soldiers said pale. The sudden change made their scalp numb. Gouda wizard, you came up with asking the soldiers to drink together last night, so, the king finally said. There were only more than 300 people left in the underground heroes. More than 500 underground heroes died in this battle. Among them, the 7 sages died more, and the 3 emperors also died a lot, but some of the powerful people are still alive. Suddenly the 5th king did not speak. He slowly stood up, waved his right hand, and immediately a soldier walked up and took a golden longbow and a trident. Horda said indifferently, don't talk big, old witch, now you can't protect yourself. Ha ha ha, betrayal. The Gouda wizard suddenly laughed, and then looked at King Saint V with a grim expression. Have you forgotten your clan? Who destroyed my Wu clan? The underground heroes in the dead man's pile are all dumbfounded. Is this an infighting? Don't worry now, wait until I kill those humans before torture you slowly, the ancient tower wizard sneered. Ha ha ha, you idiots, isn't it obvious that the old witch has touched you on your body, and when the time comes, you will all be poisoned and killed. Hoda laughed, and now the situation of the battle began to reverse. So many soldiers died in the country, and now there are only more than 100 admiral troops left. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. The ancient tower wizard looked at Horda coldly. Human, you are a lot of nonsense, I will kill you first in a while. Since you mentioned this, there is nothing to say. This is fate, and you and I must fight. Saint King V became serious. It's just that when he was halfway through, the ancient tower wizard sneered, Sage V, you guessed it, it's just that the wine I gave you all last night contained my secret poison, these toxins. It is colorless and tasteless, so there is nothing wrong with you drinking it. Fortunately, they have all fallen to the ground now, and they all seem to be dead. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Add 12 women that redefined Asian beauty. Add chapter 253 Impure World Reincarnation. Advertise here, just because you want to kill us? Venom said while eating the corpse of the countryman. The ancient tower wizard saw the venom eating the soldiers of the countryman. His face was a little difficult to look. He directly threw the skeleton scepter in his hand into the sky, and then said, let you see and see the strongest magic technique of the wizard. Impure World Reincarnation. Dead man. As the ancient tower wizard shouted, the skeleton scepter suspended in the sky shot countless black rays of light in all directions. These rays of light instantly entered the bodies of the dead soldiers of the country, and the venom immediately jumped away with fright. The soldiers of the country who were lying on the ground began to turn black. After a while, they stood up miraculously. Their eyes were hollow, but the breath of death exuded from their bodies. Damn, how can you fight this? Someone in the underground heroes screamed. Suddenly the soldiers of the country with the number 3 or 4,000 changed their appearance and lived. Are they going to fight again? As these dead men stood up, the faces of the underground heroes became darker. Is this still going to end? The admiral soldiers in the country also had a tingling scalp. Will they be made like this by the ancient tower wizard when they die? He Shang V looked at the black and crushed a large army, knowing that this time the country is really at the end of the country, and whether he can survive it depends on the holy light gem. The ancient tower wizard looked at the black dead soldier on the ground and smiled, then turned to look at Horda. Kill you first. As soon as the voice fell, the thousands of dead soldiers immediately slew towards Horda. Their actions were very fast, and they were agile and active. They were stronger than the soldiers of the country before they died. When Horda saw the crowds of dead men rushing towards him, his face was a little hard to look at. Don't look at the big words he just said. Now these dead men rushing towards him, he is not afraid that they are all fake. Horda, you're done. Venom can only avoid its sharp edge. With so many dead men swarming, he will be divided into several pieces even if he is strong. Horda is no longer in the mood to deal with the venom, and now he is facing an army of thousands. Let's withdraw first. The American captain issued an order for the Super League to withdraw first. So many dead men are not something they can contend with. There is no way for Horda to die. They can't save Horda to save their entire Super League. drag all of them into the water. After seeing the rest of the Super League escape, Horta's face really sank. The Super League said it's life and death together, but at this time, he ran away, really a group of snakes and rats. At this moment, it was not only the people from the Super League who ran away, but also the people from some forces all began to retreat. There was no way to fight. The 3 or 4,000 dead men were not something they could deal with by the more than 300 people now. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Boy, let's retreat too. Xiao Beichao knew that it was impossible to beat him and had to leave. Don't worry, wait a while. Chi Feng wanted to find out the weaknesses of these dead men, saying that they could not be defeated one by one. My brother, it will be too late if you don't leave, Kurosawa said with a wave of scalp numb. Even if we leave now, the dead man of the ancient tower wizard will find us sooner or later and destroy our people one by one. Now the people of the country are the same as us, and we must kill the ancient tower wizard, so villain's villain is a friend. The king of the country will help us. Chi Feng immediately analyzed. Hearing what Chi Feng said, Kurosawa Kazunami and others felt reasonable, but even if the people from the country helped us, they only had more than 100 people, and it was useless in front of these 3 or 4,000 dead men. The dead men rushed to Horta. Horta gritted his teeth and suddenly flew up. The thunder hammer in his hand burst out with blue light. At this moment, it is no longer possible to see the appearance of the thunder hammer. Only one blue hammer was held by Horta, in hands. Thunder hammer. Horta roared and dived directly from the sky. The moment the thunder hammer touched the ground, a blue light lit up, and dense thunder and lightning rushed in all directions. The dead men's skin began to fall off after being hit by Horta's attack, and finally turned into a pile of bones scattered on the ground. The thunder and lightning were still crisscrossing, and the dead soldiers continued to collapse. 40 or 50 dead soldiers had already collapsed during this period. Chi Feng suddenly realized that these dead men seemed to be extremely afraid of thunder and lightning. It is no wonder that the Gouda wizard was the first to kill Horta. It was not because Horta's mouth was inadequate to clean up, but that Horta had to be killed. The fire quirks stay and deal with these dead men. Chi Feng suddenly shouted, and those fire quirks who were about to retreat stopped one after another. Yan Phoenix Jones was going to run away. Chi Feng looked at him, and Jones immediately said, "My strength is not enough to fight these dead men, don't want me to die." Suddenly the fifth king drew open the golden bow of Gongzan. The golden jewel on his neck lit up, and suddenly a golden arrow appeared on the bow. "Don't talk nonsense, you have the ability to deal with these dead men?" Chi Feng said disdainfully. The turtles with their heads shrunk, just like the Gouda wizard said, "They're all rubbish. In addition, it is invincible. But to be honest, they really don't dare to rush to fight like this. They're not these human beings, they will use some weird abilities, and their soldiers are good at close combat. Is it finally going to take action?" The ancient tower wizard turned to face the holy V. She wanted to kill Horta first. After all, this guy's abilities are a bit tricky. The thunder of the power of nature, his dead man. The most feared are flames and thunder. "King of the country, will you still kill the ancient tower wizard?" Chi Feng suddenly called to the king of the country. "You can try and see if you can deal with these dead men. If you can't, it's not too late for you to leave." Chi Feng pointed his finger at the dead men who rushed towards Horta. Sure enough, the reaction of these dead soldiers after being burned by flames was similar to that of being struck by lightning, and they turned into bones and couldn't continue fighting. However, close combat is useless for these dead men. "Then I will give it a try." Yan Phoenix Jones immediately turned into a Yan Phoenix, and flew towards the dead, spitting out flames in his mouth, burning these dead. Yan Phoenix Jones suddenly gained confidence and began to attack. Yan Phoenix Jones didn't want to listen to Chi Feng, but he couldn't help it. Now their underground heroes are like grasshoppers tied to a rope. If everyone dies, he will die sooner or later. The rest of the fire quirks also rushed out to show off their skills. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. "Humans, do you dare to talk to our king like this?" Heller pointed at Chi Feng in the distance with a big sword in his hand. "There are too many dead men. It is obviously not enough to fight with some fire quirk underground heroes such as Horta and Joniston. If the battle continues, they may be consumed." The admiral soldiers of the country were all pale. "This is not enough, we have too few people." Chi Feng frowned. Chapter 254 Death Scythe Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. The situation of the battle subtly turned into a joint force against the ancient pagoda wizards by the people of the countrymen and the underground heroes. "Gouda, I knew there would be such a day for a long time, but I didn't expect it would come so soon." The golden Mont's long arrow on the bow of the Holy V was ready to go. "I have been waiting for this day for a long time, and your clan should also perish, but what I didn't expect is that the humans on Earth will become so powerful now, which greatly hinders my plan." The ancient tower wizard sneered. She hated Li Guo a long time ago. If you ask her what color she hates, it will undoubtedly be golden. She must get rid of the gold of the whole country, and then turn all these golds into black and become a kingdom of death. The inheritance of the witch clan will never be broken. I'm afraid your abacus will fall to nothing, because I can see that the Earth humans can reverse everything. The golden arrow in his hand suddenly shot out after King Saint V finished saying this. Call out. The golden arrow quickly struck towards the ancient tower wizard, gnashing her teeth with the golden light. She took out a black skull from her sleeve robe and waved it towards the golden arrow. A dark skull shadow head rushed out of the skull and faced the golden arrow. The two collided and suddenly exploded, and then the Saint V shot a dozen arrows one after another, and the ancient tower wizard was like crazy output. The battle fought again in this way, Thunder Dragon form. Horta instantly turned into a Thunder Dragon, flapping his blue wings to instigate the dead soldiers on the ground, and thunder and lightning penetrated the dead soldiers rushing up. It is a pity that the dead men are not stupid fools. They also have autonomous thinking. They gradually avoided Horta's attacks. Some dead men jumped on Horta's wings, backs, and legs, constantly attacking and biting. Horta also releases thunder and lightning continuously, but the number of dead soldiers is too much, and he is a little weak. The same was true for the Yan Phoenix, who was incarnation of Yan Phoenix Johnston. At this moment, blood was spilled on Yan Phoenix's body, very embarrassed. Are you still not doing it? Horta shouted loudly, obviously unable to hold on. The people present were all taken aback. Who did Horta talk to and who did he let him do it? Only Chi Feng knew that Horta was talking to him. Among all the people present, only Horta and him were the lightning Quirk. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Raiden Quirk has a great effect on the dead, so Horta can't hold on anymore and wants Chi Feng to take action. But Chi Feng just smiled, and didn't mean to make a move. It was not that he was afraid of revealing his identity. To put it bluntly, Chi Feng has nothing to fear now. After he leaves this small world, this world can threaten him. There are only two hands. People like Horta have an eye above the top and don't sympathize with the weak. Chi Feng looks down on this kind of person the most. Even if you are strong, you can't bully the weak. What kind of ability is that? Now that the dead man made this look, knowing that he is not the number one in the world? Seeing that Chi Feng did not intend to do anything, the anger in Huota's eyes could burn Chi Feng to death. Chi Feng did not come to help him when he was alive and dead. Do you really want to watch him be killed before doing it? Just when Huota wanted to rush towards Chi Feng, a gust of wind suddenly appeared. Chi Feng once again felt the breath of death. Only this breath could threaten him. Xiao Beiqiao is powerful, and he naturally felt this breath for the first time, and a black shadow was drawn from a distance, and instantly rushed into the dead man. Chi Feng immediately saw a handful of black sickles continuously cutting among the dead soldiers. When the sickle turned, all the dead soldiers in the surrounding circle were cut off. That's the sickle of death, someone shouted, with a trace of horror in his eyes. As this person yelled, all the people present came to understand that this is an internationally wanted criminal, a sickle of death. Old man, this sickle of death ranks above you. Do you know him? Chi Feng suddenly turned his head and asked Xiao Beiqiao. Xiao Beiqiao glanced at Chi Feng and didn't intend to answer this question. He knew who the death sickle was, but there was no need to talk to Chi Feng. Chi Feng was more curious when he saw that Xiao Beiqiao was reluctant to say, but he didn't ask any more. With the appearance of the sickle of death, the dead men were relentlessly harvested like straw. Hey Kobe, who was standing by, suddenly smiled and said, "It's time for me to move. Your task is to kill humans. Go," Gouda Wizard urged. The Gouda Wizard felt that there were too many variables today. She was already in a situation where she had a chance to win, and she would be ruined by these clowns. There are now more than 1,000 dead men, nearly 2,000 dead men. What is going on here? What happened? Hey Kobe rushed into the group of dead men, and the black dead spirit on the dead men was instantly sucked away by Hey Kobe. He seemed to feel a kind of growth. The dead spirit on the dead men was a great tonic. The ancient tower wizard was dealing with the Holy V, while also observing his dead men and the situation of the battle. He didn't know if he didn't observe carefully, but he was shocked immediately after careful observation. Long live the Wu clan. The remaining more than 30 children of the witch race came behind the ancient tower wizard, and the black gems in the skeleton in the hand of the ancient tower wizard shot out more than 30 black lights into the wizard race. At this moment, the black breath above and below Hey Kobe's body spread instantly. The death breath came very fast. Chi Feng subconsciously walked away a few steps. This breath gave people a very bad feeling. The current situation is that the people in Black Kobe are like tigers, while the dead men are cats. A tiger paws a cat, but it takes dozens or even hundreds of cats to deal with a tiger. Chi Feng only noticed Hey Kobe at this time. This guy has been standing behind the crowd. He has been behind since the war with the soldiers of the country, so Chi Feng didn't notice. One of the Wu people immediately stepped on Leilong Hoda. Hoda was huge in front of the dead men, but in front of the growing Wu people, it was like a baby facing Yao Ming. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. In this way, more than a dozen people are fighting in the group of dead men. Although the dead men have become stronger, they are only for ordinary Quirk people and close combat people. For flame Quirk people and thunder Quirk people, there are also black in Kobe. The sickle of death has no effect at all, but is like a fish in the water. The remaining children of the witch race, fight now, and I will give you supreme power. Knowing that he can no longer keep his hands, the ancient tower wizard immediately took back the skeleton scepter suspended in the sky, and the black gems in the skeleton were brightly released. Gouda, your doomsday is here. Suddenly the fifth king shot an arrow on the shoulder of the ancient tower wizard, and the ancient tower wizard cried out in pain. Her body was attacked by a holy light, which was very uncomfortable. Her dead men were actually hacked to death by a guy like a straw, and there was another guy who could absorb the death of her dead men. The 30-odd people became huge in an instant, reaching more than a dozen meters in height. There were only a dozen people, and a dozen people killed her more than 1,000 dead men. 14 food items that'll definitely make you smell better. Ad exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad chapter 255 Icefield, Region Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes HK $28,000 a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. The huge soles of the feet hit, and the shocked Horda immediately avoided the past. The foot was stomped empty, but left a deep footprint on the ground. In the big pit, more than a dozen dead men had become cut the meatloaf. This? Horda immediately flew up in surprise, flying higher and higher, and could no longer fly upwards when he flew about 50 meters, but then these giants would have nothing to do with him. More than 30 giants have joined the battlefield, and the human side has become extremely difficult, but the ancient tower wizard is not very comfortable at this moment. Since she was injured just now, she has been languishing and has been suppressed by the Holy Fifth. But it would be worth it if the human beings could be wiped out. When these troublesome humans died, the people of the country would be crushed by her. You go to help the humans fight the witches and dead men, Saint Fifth suddenly shouted to the Admiral Army behind him. The Admiral Army did not listen to the words of the ancient tower wizard, but they had to listen to the king. At this moment, when the king spoke, several Admiral troops were about to rush out. But there are still many Admiral troops who are worried. What are you kidding about? Of those more than 30 giants, one person can be worth more than a dozen Admiral troops. They went up to be trampled to death. King, we can't compete with those monsters with our strength right now, the Admiral Army cried helplessly. The rest of the Admiral Army also meant this. The king did not speak, the golden gems on his neck exuded golden brilliance, and all these brilliance entered the bodies of every Admiral Army. I'm full of power, the holy light is invincible. Admiral's army roared excitedly, and immediately rushed out riding a warhorse and rushed into the ranks of the dead. The rest of the Admiral Army also rushed into the dead men's team with a roar, and began to slaughter the quartet. What the ancient tower wizard hates most is the holy light gem on the neck of King Saint V. She hates this kind of thing. As long as the holy light gem is there, the witch stone of her shaman clan will be suppressed. The war continued to ferment, and even if the more than 100 Admiral troops were protected by the holy light, they were invincible. Many people were still torn into pieces by the dead, and some Admiral troops were trampled on by the Wu people. Dead. However, the dead soldiers of the witch tribe were not much better. The Admiral soldiers chopped off their heads, chopped off their arms, and died a lot. With the attacks of the underground heroes and the Admiral Army, the number of dead soldiers is less than 300, and the giants of the witch tribe have also died more than 20. Up to now, only 8 or 9 are still fighting. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. On the underground heroes, everyone except Horda, Johnston, and Black Kobe died in the battle, and the sickle of death that had killed In before was also injured and escaped. There are only 7 or 8 people left in the Admiral Army of the country at the moment. One arm of the company has disappeared, and it is clear that he has gone through a deadly battle. Horda had already returned to a human form, with a lot of injuries on his body, turned his head and looked around, where there were shadows of Chi Feng and others. These guys had already ran away. We are exhausted here, but we are serving others, Horda said with a gloomy expression. This battle can no longer continue. Let's go. Obviously Horda was talking to Black Kobe and Flame Phoenix Jones, but Black Kobe was sublimated at this moment compared to Horda and Jones. Hey Kobe's breath became stronger, and it was all caused by the death of these dead men. He enjoyed this battle very much, and this battle made him stronger. Only Horda and Johnson had nothing to gain, they were just exhausted. That's right, Chi Feng, Xiao Beichao and others have run away a long time ago, mainly because Xiao Beichao found that the game was wrong. This situation is no longer just hard to get through, and we must take the best plan. At this moment, Chi Feng and Xiao Beichao and other 30 people are still running on the road. Because of the sandstorm in the desert area, they had to run to the ice field. When they entered the ice field, they were dumbfounded. Once they turned around, they couldn't see the desert. A piece of ice and snow in his eyes. Blame me, for letting you into the ice field area carelessly. Now we are all done. The lazy man said with an ugly face. Just now because of the sandstorm, he did not think of the horror of the ice field area for a while. The two of them did not hesitate, and immediately opened the box and ate it. Hera had eaten the curry rice given by Chi Feng once. At this moment, the fast food was also very delicious. The lazy husband directly gobbled it up. After a battle, he really was hungry. Not long after walking, dozens of white giant beasts with mouth full of fangs rushed out from the side of the snow slope, staring fiercely at Chi Feng and others. Chi Feng once again took out 2 foods and handed them to Lisha and the lazy husband. We still have more to eat. You can eat more. Both the slugger and the shame were stunned, and looked at Kurosawa with incredible eyes. How did this guy change his clothes out of thin air? Hesha and the lazy husband hurriedly thanked them, and then began to devour them. After the two had eaten, all the talents went on the road and began to find a way out. Bisha and the lazy husband did not understand. Bisha asked, "Where is the food?" When the two of them finished eating the fast food in their hands, they still seemed to be a little bit unsatisfied. After all, the people of Piguo had a lot of appetite. "As long as you can go out, it's okay. Although it's a bit cold here, it's still bearable." Kurosawa took out a set of thick clothes from the nano storage box and put it on his body. He was all ready, just to prevent everything. 1. "What's the matter?" Kurosawa asked immediately. He is a bit nervous now, since he came to this place. One after another bad things have happened. Where he wants to escape. "This is a glacier beast. Please remember that you must not be bitten by their teeth. As long as their fangs bite you, you will be frozen immediately." Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Wang Qi directly took out 2 fast foods from the nano storage box and handed them to the lazy husband and Hesha and said, "Hurry up. It will be cold in this weather." Both the lazy husband and Hesha looked at the fast food in their hands in shock. What kind of magic is this that can directly transform food? The lazy husband shook his head and continued, "But we don't have any food now. It's not bad to be able to stay here for 2 or 3 days. If you encounter an ice demon, you will die immediately. We have a lot of food. If you too are hungry, we will give you food," Chi Wang said at this time, and he was full of energy at the moment. As long as you enter the ice field, when you can't see the way back, it's generally difficult to get out again. Even if you can find the way back, it will take a long time. Moreover, there are giant snow monsters and glacial beasts in the ice field, even if you are out of luck. I can meet the ice demon. The lazy husband became more and more frustrated as he talked about it, and it was all because he had forgotten to remind him. Before the lazy husband's words fell, he saw King Chi rushing up directly and hit one of the glacier beasts with a punch on the chin. The glacier beast died without even humming. Chapter 256 Ice Demon Fort Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. The lazy husband felt that he was talking too much, and the strength of these humans was outrageous, especially the bald head, who could solve everything with one punch. Seeing that these humans were so ferocious, the glacier beast was dumbfounded for a while, and immediately killed their kind, and seemed to only use a punch. "Leave these to me. You go forward first, and I'll follow up in a while." Chi Wang waved to Chi Feng and others, and said indifferently, "Okay, then you should be faster." Chi Feng smiled and changed the direction and left with everyone. Both the lazy husband and Husha followed Chi Feng speechlessly. They couldn't say this to the glacier beast's calm. People on Earth are really strong. After more than 10 seconds, Chi Wang returned. The corners of the lazy husband's mouth twitched. Even if he faced the dozens of glacier beasts, he would have to spend a lot of work, at least a few minutes to complete, and this king of Chi only needs a dozen seconds. As everyone walked aimlessly in this world of ice and snow, the weather seemed to be getting colder and colder. Ochiai Minato said unbearably, "When will we be heads when we go on like this?" After hearing the words of Ochiai Minato, most of the people were silent for a while. They have been walking aimlessly for several days. There is nothing but some glacier beasts and snow monsters here. It is like a forbidden land. If you can't get out after a few days, maybe people like them will go crazy. Don't talk nonsense. Some food is good. If you don't want to follow everyone, leave alone. Chao Beichao also said a little annoyed. Seeing what Chao Beichao said, even if Ochiai Kodo had 100 courage, he wouldn't dare to talk nonsense anymore, and the others didn't say anything. Except for Chao Beichao, the only leader here is Shenquan, but Shenquan hasn't said a word since he came with Chi Feng, and he follows in the large army like a passerby. As for the Sword Emperor and the Bone Emperor, as well as the underground heroes of some island countries, they are scattered, and some people on Chi Feng's side are relatively familiar. What do you think it is? Nishio Yuta suddenly pointed his finger into the distance and said, as if he was excited about discovering a new world. Everyone looked around, and there was an ice castle standing there not far away, as if there were people inside. Finally, there is a place to stay. This ruined place doesn't even have a building. Now there is an ice castle. Let's go over together. Lan Shi said at this time. She usually doesn't speak much, but because it's really a ghost place like this, I couldn't stand it anymore, so I just started to speak at this moment. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chi Feng glanced at Lan Shi. Lan Shi was still wearing shorts with her strong and slender thighs exposed. Although beautiful, she suffered in this kind of weather. Okay, then let's go to the ice castle, Chao Beichao said immediately. No, you can't go there, shouted the lazy husband. Why can't I go anymore? Is there any problem? Lan Shi said angrily. This countryman seemed to have a lot of things. The others also looked at the lazy man in surprise, as if in the eyes of the lazy man, no matter where it was dangerous. Bisha was also a little embarrassed standing behind the lazy husband. Her uncle knew much more than her, so at this time Bisha didn't know what to say, only to see what uncle the lazy husband had. That's the ice demon fort. The ice demon lives in it. We can't go there, the lazy husband said with a somewhat ugly expression. He did not wait for these people on Earth to continue to inquire, and said again, ice demons are the strongest creatures in the ice field. They and the glacier beasts and snow monsters we encountered before are completely two concepts. The ice demons live in the ice field. Because it is more difficult for races to reproduce, they're very rare, but there are hundreds of them in this vast ice field. The strength of the ice demon is very strong, and every one of them has my strength. If you encounter the ice demon king, even the king of our country will have to work hard to kill. The lazy husband looked at after finishing talking. Xiao Beichao and Chi Feng, it seems that they have more power to speak here. Xiao Beichao frowned. The ice demon in this ice demon castle turned out to be so strong, but they have been walking for so many days, they must find a place to take a good rest. How many ice monsters are there in an ice demon castle? Xiao Beichao asked the lazy husband. I don't know about this, but I don't think there are more than a dozen, but there are 7 or 8. The lazy husband said with no certainty. He had only been to the ice field once, so he knew only a few things. Regardless of the dominance of the country in this small world, it is not true. Whether it is a desert area or an ice field, there are rulers, but they do not interfere with each other, and the country is faintly headed by the country. Xiao Beichao glanced at these 30-odd people. Except for Shenquan, there is no first emperor here, followed by Qi Wang and Chi Feng who are the strongest, and then they are all people with the strength of the 7 saints. To put it bluntly, these people's combat power is very weak, and when they go to the Ice Demon Citadel, they all send food, but it is because the humans have the super ability of Quirk that they can ignore these foreign races. What is the ability of the Ice Demon? Shenquan asked suddenly. The lazy husband said immediately. Ice Demon's ability is frozen and tough. Their bodies are very strong and hard, almost indestructible. Xiao Beichao, you can lead the way. After Shenquan heard it, Xiao Beichao directly led the way. The lazy husband thought he had heard it wrong, and he understood everything he said so clearly. Would these people still go to die? Xiao Beichao didn't hesitate and took everyone to the Ice Demon Castle. Since the Divine Fist had spoken, there was no problem. Chi Feng also wanted to see what Shenquan's ability to deal with these ice demons. During the previous battle with the people of the country, Chi Feng didn't see the amazing attack of Shenquan, or didn't have time to watch it. The lazy husband knew that no matter how much he said, he was wasting his tongue, so he had to follow him together. Now he wants to live together, and if he dies, he will die together. When Chi Feng and others came to the Ice Demon Castle about 5 meters away, the ice door of the Ice Demon Castle suddenly opened, and they seemed to have discovered more than 30 people like Chi Feng. Sure enough, 8 ice monsters walked out of the Ice Demon Castle in a short time. Each of these ice monsters was nearly 3 meters high, and the skin was light blue, just like ice. They wore silver helmets with horns, and held an axe made of ice in their hands, with 2 white fangs exposed, staring at Chi Feng and others unkindly. 8. The lazy man's complexion looks a little bad. They only have 3 top powers here, plus him. The others are not very strong. Except for the bald head and Chi Feng, the others are specific. The strength of the lazy husband does not know. But he knew that it was impossible to kill 8 ice demons with these people alone. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Emma Watson's incredible transformation ad exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad chapter 257 evaporation advertise here. Chi Feng and Xiao Beichao can feel the strength of the ice demon standing more than 40 meters away from the ice demon. The aura of these 8 ice demon is undoubtedly the top imperial powerhouse, but because there is no quirk, it is at most the strength of the 2nd emperor or the 3rd emperor. But even so, they are not easy to deal with. Shenquan may be able to deal with 2 of them one at a time, and he can deal with Xiao Beichao. Then the lazy man can only deal with 1, and there are 3 remaining. Can't do it. People from the country, huh? Who are the other people besides the 2 people from the country? The headed ice demon said in confusion. They seem to have never seen a human race other than the people from the country. Even if they stand on their feet, the ice demon is not considered a human race. Don't care who we are, can you give up your ice demon fort? Chi Feng suddenly said. The ice demon was taken aback after hearing it, and then all laughed. This is probably the funniest joke in the past few years. Someone actually said that the ice demon should give up their territory. Since you are looking for death, then kill you first. The other ice demon sneered and went a step forward, and a white chill instantly rushed towards Chi Feng. Not only did Chi Feng not step back, but instead dashed forward a distance of more than 10 meters, directly shouting, "Evaporation!" Within 5 meters of Chi Feng's body, the hot air quickly rose, and the cold current of the ice demon rushed into the 5 meters of Chi Feng, directly evaporating the cold air. What's the matter? The ice demons didn't react for a while. One of their best ice sealing methods, the ice stream, actually had no effect at all. Seeing that Chi Feng alone could block the ice demon's attack, if Xiao Beichao deliberately glanced at the magic fist behind him, he estimated that he knew that Chi Feng was strong enough to do this step, so he would come. In other words, so many of them can watch the show now. Can Chi Feng deal with these ice demons? Chi Feng breathed a sigh of relief. The strength of these ice monsters is indeed very strong, but this kind of ice flow method is not good, because ice monsters have no quirk, and this kind of ice flow method is just a handed-down trick. But it's better than Shoto Todoroki. I'll give it a try. The headed ice demon didn't believe in evil, so he stretched his hands forward, and 2 ice streams rushed towards Chi Feng. Chi Feng can feel that these two ice currents are much stronger than the previous one, but they are still not enough. Evaporation. The ice stream is evaporated again, and now Chi Feng can make the surrounding temperature rise sharply, just like the temperature in a sauna room. Although the fire is not visible, the distortion of the temperature can be felt. This is the case with high temperatures. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Impossible. The face of the ice demon change. No one in the ice field is their opponent. Even if the king of the country comes to their territory, they have to deal with it with all their strength. How can they easily attack their ice currents? To resolve. Chi Feng turned out to be so powerful. Bisha found out that Chi Feng was so powerful. Although Chi Feng was also on the scene when he was fighting Bigwo before, Bisha saw Chi Feng throwing things into the pile of people and then exploded. It's time for Chi Feng to really show off his strength, and Bisha feels that he is great. The other underground heroes basically participated in the ranking contest of the Imperial League, so I knew that Chi Feng had this trick to evaporate. The Niwa seaman in the crowd was the most impressed. His attack was directly evaporated by Chi Feng, and the seawater was evaporated clean in an instant. Go and kill him. The leading ice demon pointed at the last ice demon and said. The ice demon rushed towards Chi Feng without any nonsense. Chi Feng can dissolve the ice flow of the ice demon, but it does not mean that he can beat the ice demon. At this moment, the ice demon rushed towards him. Chi Feng did not back down, but took out the short sword to prepare for battle. Frozen. The ice demon blurted out. Chi Feng instantly felt the sudden cold around him, and then his body started to freeze. At this moment, the ice demon had already come to his eyes, and the ice axe in his hand slashed directly at Chi Feng's head. Chi Feng knew that if he was frozen by the ice demon, his head would be cut off in the next moment, but how could Chi Feng let him get what he wanted? Evaporation. Chi Feng shouted. The surrounding temperature rose instantly, and the cold air that was about to freeze him also began to dissipate. Chi Feng's eyes condensed and directly grabbed the ice demon's wrist, which was much higher than his own. Seeing that this temperature could not kill the ice demon, Chi Feng immediately increased the temperature. The ice and snow on the ground had already started to melt. At this moment, Chi Feng was making the evaporation temperature higher and higher, where Chi Feng and the ice demon were located. Sink instantly. Chi Feng threw the ice demon upward, and a corpse was thrown up and fell in front of the other ice demon tens of meters away. They actually have an ice demon general in this ice demon castle? The lazy man cried out in surprise. The ice demon headed by saw his tribe being made to look like this, and he was still dead. His face instantly turned black, and at the same time he was extremely jealous of Chi Feng. Later, the ice demon had no strength to scream, and the temperature had completely burned its brain, and its body had become shriveled and then died. When the sinking height exceeds 2 meters, Chi Feng controls the evaporation range so that the ice and snow on the ground will not melt, but the direct temperature will be added to the ice demon's surroundings. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Is the ice demon general very strong? Wu Wanlin asked. The lazy husband didn't know what to say at this moment. The ice demons were all turned into corpses by Chi Feng. What else is there to say? The earthlings won this battle. The ice demon immediately complied and entered the ice demon castle. Ah! The ice demon suddenly screamed, and his face began to twist. This kind of high temperature has never been felt before. In this ice field, some are only cold, and their ice demon race is only suitable for cold life in the region, otherwise he would have gone to the country to grab territory. The lazy husband said, the ice demon will be the second only to the ice demon king, so it is very powerful. Call the lord of the ice demon to come out. The headed ice demon suddenly said to the ice demon on the side. There was a dull sound in the ice demon castle, and an ice demon more than 3 meters high came out, with a deep blue mark on its forehead. It was the ice demon general. In the high temperature, Chi Feng firmly grasped the wrist of the ice demon and prevented it from breaking free. The ice demon could not get rid of being burned by the high temperature continuously. It was not that it was not as strong as Chi Feng, but was distorted by this temperature. I can't bring out my own strength. As the temperature continued to rise, the ice demon's hands began to shrink, and his body gradually shrank. The ice demon didn't seem to expect that this little guy would break free of its ice, and also grabbed its wrist. At this moment, the ice demon was trying to break away from Chi Feng's hand, and then hacked Chi Feng to death. At this moment, it was terrifying. High temperature appears. After the ice demon general came out, he only glanced at the dead people on the ground, and then rushed towards Chi Feng directly, with an ice spear in his hand. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Add chapter 258 Unknown Variables Bitcoin Bank Millionaire shows how she became wealthy. The fastest way to earn money shocks the world. Learn more. When the ice demon rushed towards Chi Feng felt a strong pressure. This pressure is not something he can resist now, so this ice demon can't beat him. The divine fist suddenly started, rushed out of the crowd, and blasted towards the ice demon general with a fist. At the same time, he said to everyone, the ice demon will be handed to me. You will help the helmet kid kill the other 7 ice demon together. Helmet kid. Chi Feng stroked his forehead. Xiao Beichao understood, and rushed Buddha Chen to the other 7 ice demons, and Chi Feng immediately did it. The rest of the people took out their housekeeping skills. They didn't speak on the way in Barbarian Mountain, but they couldn't do much when they started. The shock wave hit one of the ice demon's head directly, causing it to concussion. As for Chi Feng's current strength, Man Shan doesn't know what to do. He naively thought that he was already stronger than Chi Feng, but now he discovered that the gap between him and the Legend of the Night is getting bigger and bigger. Since Chi Feng was able to fight with Horda and he was able to chop off one of Horda's arms, Man Shan knew that he was not Chi Feng's opponent. And Chi Feng has a double quirk. This is something he knows, but he doesn't like to talk nonsense. If Chi Feng takes out another quirk to fight, he will lose badly in the Wild Mountain. Therefore, the Barbarian Mountain had to become stronger, and at this moment, he didn't leave any hands when attacking the Ice Demon. 5 minutes later, the magic fist pierced the Ice Demon General's head with the last punch, and the Ice Demon was stunned. After the death of the Ice Demon, the rest of the Ice Demon were also beheaded by Chao Beichao and others, and all the Ice Demon in the Ice Demon Castle died. After killing all the Ice Demons, Chi Feng put them all together and dissolved them directly at high temperature. After everyone walked into the Ice Demon Castle, the temperature inside was also very low. It did not become warmer because it was indoors. However, there are some facilities in the Ice Demon Castle that can be used for heating. Chi Feng took out some wood from the warehouse and used high temperature. When it burns, everyone sits in a circle to keep warm. Some people are also a little tired these days, and they all start to fall asleep. They don't worry that their people will sneak attack or something. After all, the people here are all underground heroes of the island country. In this environment, it is even more necessary to help each other. As night fell, most of the people fell asleep, and Chi Feng fell asleep half dream and half awake. Everything was peaceful in his dream. Early the next morning, people started to wake up slowly. After a night's rest, everyone's mental state improved a lot. Everyone took out their own food and started to eat. Chi Feng directly took out several servings of food and handed them to Lazy Husband and Hesha. He also brought a lot of desserts to her. She had never eaten such a delicious dessert before, and tears flowed from her eyes. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. There are a lot of these delicious things on the earth. When we return to the earth, I will take you to eat, Chi Feng said with a smile. Yeah, thank you. Bisha originally wanted to call him Chi Feng, but Chi Feng told him not to call him Chi Feng in front of others, so she didn't call him. After Bai Shui ate the last piece of sushi in her stomach, she looked at Hesha and Chi Feng, and muttered to herself, "This kid doesn't taste so heavy, does he like black girls?" For Bai Shui's look, Chi Feng had no idea that Bai Shui would think so. Everyone went on the road again after eating. This time they speeded up, because it is not a problem to always consume it in such a cold place. A week later, Chi Feng and others were still looking for a way out on the ice sheet. During this week, they encountered many glacier beasts and snow monsters, but they were undoubtedly killed. During the period, I also saw an ice demon castle. This time there were only 4 ice demon, and they were directly taken care of by Chi Feng. After half a month, Chi Feng and the group finally walked out of the ice field, but the front was pitch black. We actually came to the Dead Sea, the Slothman said with an ugly face. Everyone saw that at the end of the ice sheet in front was a piece of pitch black water, and there were still white bones floating on the water. They didn't know when these bones came from or what kind of creature they were. Chi Feng naturally knows what this black area is. Just like the Slothman said, it is the Dead Sea, which is the dead zone. They had seen it on the volcano before, and there was a black sea in an area, but they didn't expect to come here by themselves. After coming here, everyone's expressions were not good either. They walked out of the ice field with all their hardships, but in the end they came to another dead area, which was even more disgusting than the ice field, and they couldn't set foot at all. Among the more than 30 people present, only a few felt that this was suffering, while more people regarded these experiences as experiences to make themselves stronger. The sloth said, "We don't really need to worry, as long as we walk along the boundary between the ice field and the Dead Sea, we will go out, and then we will enter the Wiener Forest, which just takes more time." Bai Mu Ling, who had been silent for a long time, said suddenly, "No matter which side wins, these people may not be able to beat them now." "We are finally out," Lan Shi exclaimed excitedly. "Everything now is an unknown variable." Everyone followed the Lazy Husband. They walked for more than half a month before they saw the shadow of the forest. This is still the case when they are fast. If they are slower, it is estimated that it will take a month to come out. Kurosawa Kazunari has grown a lot after this period of time, and almost everyone has gained something. Then follow what the Lazy Husband said. Chi Feng can only do so. In Chi Feng's impression, Lan Shi is a colder woman, about the same type as Bai Shui, but it doesn't seem to be the case now. The Wiener Forest is a bit quiet, and some creatures usually make calls, but now Chi Feng has not heard one. Yes, we must find the other people in the underground heroes to know the outcome of the matter. I don't know how they are now. Chao Beichao nodded. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Hearing the Slothman say this, everyone became excited, and they liked the Wiener Forest more than this kind of place. Mansion said at this time, "It's very simple, we have been in the ice field for almost 2 months. The battle between the ancient pagoda wizards and the people of the country must have been over in the past 2 months. If the ancient pagoda wizards win, then this Wiener forest naturally, they are all hers, on the contrary, they are Baguo's people. Just when Chi Feng wanted to fly, the lazy husband reached out and stopped Chi Feng. You can't fly here. If there is something flying over the Dead Sea, it will fall directly, no matter what it is. Something's wrong. Xiao Beichao signaled everyone to be careful. It's very quiet around here, unlike the Wiener forest before. It seems that something has happened. Then what shall we do now? Chi Feng asked. There is someone under the tree over there. It seems that he hasn't died yet. Let's go and take a look. Lan Chi found a human under the tree in front of him. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Add what is the most common plastic surgery in Korea? Add chapter 259 advertise here. Wake up soon. Lan Chi shook the man under the tree. This was a white man. The white man's eyes moved, and after slowly opening his eyes, he saw two bulging balls, and he suddenly became more energetic. Why suddenly there was a beautiful woman in front of him. What happened here? Lan Chi asked immediately. The white man swept his gaze on Lan Chi's chest, and then saw so many powerful men next to Lan Chi. He immediately looked away, and then said with a bit of pain. The people of the ancient tower wizard chased us. Many of us died, and now everyone is scattered. I was lucky. After the deadly poison was in my leg, I cut off the leg and fainted. Naturally, Chi Feng and others have noticed that this white man has only one leg. It seems that the king has lost and the ancient tower wizard has won. Or maybe there are other variables. We continue to find people to hurry. There will not be many ancient tower wizards. As long as we find the top emperor level powerhouse, we can still defeat the ancient tower wizard. Shi Wang said to everyone. Go. Xiao Beichao just said a word, and everyone immediately followed Xiao Beichao towards the forest. Don't leave me alone. I will die here, the white man shouted loudly. These guys actually left directly. He is still a disabled person and needs to be taken care of. However, no one paid attention to him, and the white man raised his head in despair. Is the human nature so cold now? The white man even forgot that when he first came here, he killed several people indiscriminately and robbed them of food. Now it is his turn. Chi Feng and the others have searched in the Wiener forest for a long time, and they have not seen the dead men and giants of the ancient tower wizard. Is the battle over? A few days later, Chi Feng's team became huge, and those who ran away in the Wiener forest also found the organization. A few days later, the Sword Emperor, Bone Emperor and others joined the team, unknowingly. There are already more than 60 people in the team of Chi Feng, including Zhao Yan and Zhao Wen IV. How is Xiaomeng? Chi Feng asked when he approached Lan Zhenxian. Lan Zhenxian found out that it was Chi Feng and immediately smiled and said, I'm really sorry, I haven't greeted you all the time. Xiaomeng is fine. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. That's good, Chi Feng chuckled, and asked after a while. Yes, Xiaomeng said that the Q-type reagent promised to me has not been given to me. After so long, the Q-type reagent is already it's useless for me, so can I want a W-type reagent? Originally Lan Zhenxian was quite happy, but Chi Feng asked for something directly after asking Lan Xiaomeng's affairs. Xiaomeng promised Chi Feng that they would give Q-type reagents. This was true, but their group leader Maki Heng directly. It was rejected, and Lan Zhenxian couldn't say anything. But speaking of this Dark Knight legend is really stingy. You said that you have blackmailed so many W-type reagents on the volcano. There must be dozens of them. The result is not enough. You actually hit him with your idea. Seeing Lan Zhenxian's expression, Chi Feng knew that this guy didn't want to give him something, so Chi Feng said again, Brother Lan, Lan Xiaomeng is your sister. Look, I will help you rescue your sister. Now, why do you have to express it alone? This. Lan Zhenxian said with some embarrassment. Our third god group is now at the end of the god group. The president of the god group is not optimistic about us, so there are not many W-type reagents. When I went up, I gave you a tube of W-type reagent on behalf of the god team, and now you ask me to take it out. I really can't do it. Chi Feng shook his head and said, Brother Lan, I don't know what the third and fourth gods are from. I only know that the strength of your gods can challenge the Imperial League, and I am now a member of the Imperial League. They can all come out with dozens of tubes of W-type reagents, and even your third god group, no matter how bad it is, can't have only 1 or 2 tubes of W-type reagents, right? Furthermore, W-type reagents will be eliminated soon, E-type reagents will be put on the market immediately after being developed, and R-type reagents will start to develop, so W-type reagents are not valuable. Chi Feng finally added, How Brother Yanlin, don't worry, you can tell me if you have any difficulties in the future, I can definitely help. Lan Zhenxian is speechless. This Dark Knight legend is really talkative. It is true that the W-type reagent is worthless now, but it is still very expensive in the middle class, and it is a sought-after product for some of the 5 kings and 7 sages. But since Underworld said it was worth it, he was really sorry if he didn't take out a tube of W-type reagent. I gave you this instead of Xiaomeng. Lan Zhenxian took out the W-type reagent from the nano storage box and handed it to Chi Feng. After Chi Feng took it, he immediately put it away and smiled. Brother Lan is really a good brother, don't worry. Your sister Lan Xiaomeng will be my sister from the Legend of the Night. Lan Zhenxian suddenly felt that Chi Feng's words were a bit awkward and subconsciously said, No, it's enough for Xiaomeng to have my brother. Chi Feng scratched his head and said, all right. If he continues to be Lan Xiaomeng's brother, it is estimated that Lan Zhenxian will work hard with him. When the number of people in the team reached more than 80 people, everyone stopped because there were no other people. It can be said that there are more than 1,000 underground heroes that came in this time, and there are no more than 100 people so far. The Super League members are not in the team, they seem to act collectively, they are not here anymore. The people of the Decent Alliance and the people of the Confession of the Gods, the rest of the Imperial Alliance are also here. Everyone is now discussing how to spend the next few months. Everyone has reached a consensus that they will not harm each other, because not many human beings are alive, and now is the time to unite. Counting it has passed more than 3 months, about 4 months, but there are still nearly 8 months to return to the Earth, and it is impossible to return in advance. The food is abundant for everyone, and the food of the dead underground heroes has been taken away, otherwise it would be a waste of it. There are still 8 months left, what should we do next? Does anyone have any better suggestions? Function Zhongzia suddenly said. All the strong ones who survived the scene, except for those who were lucky enough to die in the island country. Except for the relatively small number, the other people's forces are all dead and wounded. It's just that several of them have died, but they are not famous. Neza and Shen Gungbao are still alive. When the Function Zhongzia asked this sentence, everyone was silent, and some people simply didn't bother to think about it. Everyone in this room was a bigwig, and there was no room for their 7 sages to speak. Some people are still in the shadow of previous battles. Thousands of them came in. Now there are less than 100 people left. This kind of casualties is unprecedented. Even if the various countries are fighting, they will not reach this point. No one spoke for a while, everyone was silent. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Add chapter 260 Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. After a long time, the demon hunter glanced around everyone and suddenly said, the people of the country and the Wu people are almost defeated, and there are not many people like us. Therefore, I want everyone to join us again. Go to the country and negotiate with the king. As soon as the demon hunter said what the demon hunter said, everyone began to whisper, and Chao Beichao said directly, we finally escaped, and now we have to go back. The journey takes more than half a month. In case there are many soldiers in the country, didn't you go to die? He meant that he wanted to negotiate terms with the country and cede the land for compensation. Chi Feng suddenly interjected. Yes, this little brother is right. We are going to the country to negotiate terms, but considering that there are still many uncertain factors for the soldiers in the country, we can only be careful. If it is not right, we will retreat immediately. The demon hunter nodded. Chi Feng directly looked at the demon hunter and said, the country has 20,000 troops. This time we are fighting with the country's top combat power, so the remaining ones are probably at the level of the 3 emperors, and the 7 sages and 5 kings are more. How do you know? The demon hunter frowned and asked. Because the 2 of them belong to the country, I am very aware of the domestic affairs. Chi Feng pointed his finger at the lazy husband and the husband behind him. 20,000 troops, then there are 15,000 soldiers. We haven't even 100 people here. If we go, isn't it just looking for death? Gonggu said that he didn't want to go. Indeed, even if the 15,000 soldiers of the country are only at the level of the 7 saints, they can use the human sea tactics to wipe out all the remaining underground heroes. Chi Feng guessed that the ancient pagoda wizard wanted the thousands of dead soldiers to directly enter the country, and then the killed soldiers of the country would become dead soldiers one after another, so that she would occupy the country if she continued. But the ancient pagoda wizards did not expect that the underground heroes would be so strong, which led to the failure of the plan. Now the ancient pagoda wizards can only hunt down and kill Chi Feng, but it is not enough to go to the country to be presumptuous. So the ancient tower wizards have come to an end. If we don't go to the country, should we stay in this shabby place for 7 or 8 months? Would you like to sleep and eat in this place? The demon hunter pouted and let him live in this virgin forest for 7 or 8 months. Then he will become a primitive man. What a noble imperial level powerhouse his demon hunter is. He is full of wind and rain outside, and the lowest hotel he has stayed in is no less than 5-star. Few people present have simple backgrounds. Basically, they have a lot of money in their pockets, so they live a comfortable life, but they can't do it for 7 or 8 months without a purpose in such a place. Chi Feng doesn't really matter, he has everything to eat and drink. It's good in this environment, and the scenery is also very good. It's okay to live for a few months, but after a long time, he may get bored. After all, there are no computers and mobile phones to use, in addition to eating and sleeping every day. Otherwise, Chi Feng is not strong enough to exercise Quirk. He could get a lot of rescue points if he defeated the crowd in the previous battle. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. However, Chi Feng also gained a lot of rescue points from that battle. When the grenade exploded, many soldiers were killed, and many soldiers were shocked. Since Chi Feng entered the small world, there are a total of 10,000 salvation points, plus the previous one, it is 20,000. Chi Feng feels that it is necessary to make his own strength reach an unprecedented height. This height should be able to play against a bald man, who is the owner of all for one. He Chi Feng must be above everyone else. Thinking of the alien creature Ross, Chi Feng has a sense of urgency in his heart. Ross is mixed among humans. He doesn't know when he will suddenly appear, and then how strong is it? The feeling of being suppressed is uncomfortable. Chi Feng has had enough. He has to stand on top of everyone's heads and look down at it all. Just like Mr. Saitama in One Punch Man, he is invincible, but he still does what a common man does. Like common people, he is even a sea-level heroes in Heroes, very inconspicuous. So Chi Feng wants to be this kind of person now, in the top ranks of all heroes, even stronger than All Might. This is the feeling. Invincibility reveals a low key. But the high profile is not human. I don't want to stay in this kind of ghost place anyway. I agree with what the demon hunter said. I don't think Bingwo will offend us anymore, otherwise even if we die, we can still put their country in a state of destruction. I agree with the demon hunter's proposal. I agree. Some people began to agree, more than half of them. These people are people who don't want to stay in the forest for 7 or 8 months. They want to live a good life in the country and eat big fish and meat. The people of the Decent Alliance can only second. After all, there are more people and more power, and the more people go, the stronger their confidence. Boy, are you going? Xiao Beichao touched his beard before making a decision. He wanted to see Chi Feng's decision. No, I want to live a life of idle clouds and wild cranes. Chi Feng smiled and said meaningfully. Does your kid have a problem with his brain? If you stay in this forest for a long time, you won't be suffocated? Xiao Beichao looked at Chi Feng in surprise. He thought that Chi Feng would go with him, but he didn't go. Don't go. Chi Feng waved his hand and said, but there are many good things in China, all made of gold. If you go, you can take away a lot of good things. Hearing Chi Feng's words, Xiao Beichao's eyes lit up, as if thinking of something. He immediately said, yes, give me the invisibility technique so that I can go to the National University of China to show my skills. Give it to me. How about 6 and 4? You just stay here and I'll find you baby. After thinking for a while, Chi Feng directly agreed. Originally, he wanted Xiao Beichao 50 tubes of W-type reagents, but I don't care if I think about it. The things in the country are more valuable. He can save a lot of money abroad, and then use this money to buy a W-type reagent. Perhaps after going out from here, E-type reagents will be developed, in which case Chi Feng will be the first to purchase. Quick, give it to me now, Xiao Beichao said excitedly. When Chi Feng and Xiao Beichao were walking far away, the demon hunter suddenly shouted, where are you two going? You can't control it. Chi Feng waved his hand and walked away from Xiao Beichao. The demon hunter's face was a bit ugly. A younger generation dared to talk to him like this. Had it not been for the many islanders and Chinese people here, he would have killed Chi Feng a long time ago. It was just a piece of rubbish that had just entered the Three Emperors' realm, and he dared to be so arrogant. It was absolutely strange that Horta's arm was cut off before. How could Horta's strength be so strong that he was broken by someone who had just stepped into the domain of the Three Emperors? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertise here. Chapter 261 Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. After Chi Feng and Xiao Beichao came to a place with no one, Chi Feng directly slapped Xiao Beichao's forehead with the palm of his hand, and then introduced the practice of invisibility into his sea of knowledge. Xiao Beichao's Jihai soon received the instruction of Chi Feng's invisibility technique, and he immediately began to practice, and within a few minutes he had mastered the high-end magic of invisibility. If it weren't for Xiao Beichao's good personality, Chi Feng would never give him the heaven-defying spell of invisibility. After all, if the invisibility was used on bad guys, they would do something illegal. Even going to the women's bathhouse and voyeuristic, in short, doing something vulgar. Ha ha ha, now we have made a fortune, we really have made a fortune. Xiao Beichao exclaimed in excitement. Old man, don't be too happy too early. The king of the country can see the invisibility technique, but there is no problem as long as you avoid him. Chi Feng exhorted. No problem, the old man has been in the arena for so many years, how can he not know the severity? Xiao Beichao laughed and patted Chi Feng on the shoulder. This kid became more pleasing to his eyes as he looked at him. As long as this ticket is completed, basically you have everything you want in this life, and then after finishing this ticket, you will come back to practice with Chi Feng. It is a waste of spiritual energy not to practice here. He still wants to live a few more lives, years. As long as the cultivation base is up, the lifespan will also increase. How many nano storage boxes do you have? Chi Feng suddenly asked. Xiao Beichao chuckled, 40 or 50, there are enough things for us to use in this life, and I guess they will be enough for the next life. You old man is very bad. You have thought so well, and even prepared so many nano storage boxes. Chi Feng shook his head. Xiao Beichao deserves to be robbed of tombs often, and the preparations are quite adequate. Well each other, well, we should also go back, they probably have already made a decision to go or stay. Chi Feng nodded and returned to the large group with Xiao Beichao. As soon as the demon hunter came back, he immediately looked at Chi Feng and said unkindly, do you want to come with us? Don't go, You have to go yourself. Chi Feng directly vetoed it. The demon hunter was taken aback, but this guy didn't go? Originally, he wanted to say that if this guy went, he would hand over some food. After all, as a junior, he needs to be sheltered, but what the hell is this guy if he doesn't go straight away? Why don't you go? The demon hunter wanted Chi Feng to go. As long as Chi Feng went, he could kill this guy in Bingguo. Then he pointed the spearhead of Chi Feng's killing at Bingguo, unconsciously. Then the people of the island nation will definitely ask for an explanation, and then they will fight to the end with the country, and finally be destroyed by the group. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If Chi Feng knew that the devil hunter thought so, he would definitely say 4 words, you think too much. It doesn't matter if I go or not. I like the virgin forest, can't I? Chi Feng felt that the demon hunter had some problems, so how could he always target him? The demon hunter's face was not very good looking, but he wouldn't have an attack at this time, so he had to endure his anger and looked at Xiao Beichao. Are you going? Go. Why not go? Xiao Beichao said cheerfully, but the demon hunter didn't understand why Xiao Beichao laughed. What's so funny at this time? Kurosawa came to Chi Feng and said, Brother Dark Knight, I'm not going anymore. I will stay with you. 2 people have company. That's right. It's useless if you go. You may die. It's better to be at ease here with me. You don't have to worry about eating and drinking. We will celebrate with some red wine in a moment. Chi Feng haha said with a smile. This was heard by some people. Those guys who looked at Chi Feng a little unpleasantly had the urge to kill Chi Feng. They also had some red wine to celebrate. What a celebration, you too. Become primitive. Okay, no problem. Kurosawa laughed, and he was also very happy. As long as he was not allowed to go to the country in dangerous places, he had had enough in the past few months, and he was still safe with Chi Feng. Sister Shirayuki, stay here too, and stay together with you. It's no use for someone of our level to go. Kurosawa looked at Shirayuki and others, and Nishio Yuta, Wu Wanglin. As for King Chi, Bai Mu Ling, Buddha, Barbarian Mountain, etc., Kurosawa Yilong would not be called, because these guys are very strong, at least much better than him. You can't take a bath in this kind of place. If you can fetch me bath water every day, I can consider it, Bai Shui said suddenly. Chi Feng was taken aback, then immediately patted Kurosawa's shoulder and said, hurry up and agree. Kurosawa said in a speechless voice, I take bath water every day. There is no water pool in the vicinity of this kind of place. Find a place with a water pool. It's all right to take a bath every day. Chi Feng turned his head and said directly to Bai Shui, I assure you that you will have hot water for bathing every day, and you will not worry about eating or drinking. Yes, a comfortable environment is of course the best, but this kind of place, after Lan Chi said, there was a feeling of inability to succeed. After all, this kind of place was just a few beasts besides the trees. But the next moment he knew that Bai Shui and Lan Chi didn't look at him at all. Now he finally knew why Horta wanted to kill this kid, even he wanted to kill. Wow, Brother Dark Knight, you are really awesome. Now that Sister Shirayuki joins, our life will be very interesting, Kurosawa said excitedly. I think everyone wants to live in a comfortable environment, right? Chi Feng suddenly looked at these people and asked. However, Chi Feng is also very strange. Women like Lan Chi and Bai Shui, who all look good, would choose to stay in this kind of forest. Nishio Yuta and Wu Wanglin stayed, Niwa Kairan and Mishima Kaze also stayed, and Ochiai did not plan to go. Chi Feng immediately slapped his legs, no problem. After everyone had decided, he immediately set off. The demon hunter glanced at Chi Feng before he left. He must kill this kid. But it's not working anymore. I'll talk about it after Bingguo. I will stay too. You, help me prepare bath water every day. Lan Chi suddenly said at this time, pointing at Chi Feng with her finger. Chi Feng is the strongest here, it is recognized, so naturally everyone will be led by Chi Feng. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Bai Shui Mei rolled her eyes, then smiled and said, that's it. There are a lot of trees here, we can use these trees to build some houses, after all, we are also capable, so it will be very simple. Chi Feng raised his finger at these trees and said. Yeah, why didn't I think of using trees to build a wooden house? Wuan Lanwu said, touching her hair. There are 2 beautiful women here, and he naturally wants to perform well. After the army left, people like Chi Feng were left. Kurosawa immediately asked Chi Feng, what do we do now? Basically, these people stayed with Chi Feng, and the others chose to visit the country. You have coronavirus. Now what happens? Add chapter 262. Advertise here, okay. Let's find a place with water and build a house around it. Chi Feng took the lead and flew away, slowing down as much as possible so that these people could keep up. Mishima Feng and Niwa Heron didn't dare to say a word. After all, they had grudges with Chi Feng before, but the Legend of the Night seems to have forgiven them, so just work honestly. A day later, Chi Feng stood by a large lake and said, how about here? Everyone's eyes were constantly looking around, and Bai Shui said at this time. The view is wide, and there is a hillside at the front of the lake to block it. We just need to build a house around here. Now that all the beauties have spoken, let's start, Everyone now cut down the trees, collect the branches and leaves, and all move. Chi Feng clapped his hands and said, like a pioneer. Kurosawa took out a black ruler and smashed it directly on a big tree. The tree was immediately cut off from the root and fell to the ground. Yuta Nishio used a watermelon sword to cut the tree. Although it was a bit difficult, the watermelon sword was sharper, so it was more effective. Wu Wanglan's quirk is not suitable for cutting trees, so he collects leaves and branches. Niwa Kairan is the same. Mishima Kei's cut down the trees with a sword, and Ochiai Minato can only punch the trees. Half an hour later, a large area of the woods under the lake was cut down. At this moment, the wood was piled up like a mountain, and all the houses were made. Chi Feng held the short sword in his left hand, and suspended the chopped trees in the air with his right hand using air manipulation. Then, the short sword waved continuously to cut the wood in the shape that Chi Feng imagined. 10 minutes later, all the wood was cut into the desired shape by Chi Feng. Then, with a wave of his hand, Chi Feng was spliced into a house in the air, and then fell to the ground. The house is very smooth, without the roughness of big trees, and the space is not small. 70 to 80 square meters are available. There are tables and chairs, bathtubs, wooden beds, and so on. All in one go. Dark Knight Legend, you are so amazing, we are really the right person. Lan Shi also found Chi Feng very useful at this time. It seems that they did not make a wrong choice to stay. With the passage of time, when the dusk came, everyone's accommodation was completed. Lan Shi and Bai Shui lived in the same room. The two of them had a house of 100 square meters, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1 kitchen and 1 living room, which was pretty good, like going on. The layout of the houses of the other people is similar. They are all 70 to 80 square meters, and they have everything they should have. In the end, Chi Feng also set up a separate house to eat. There was only a big round table and chairs for everyone to eat. Everyone has lighting items in their nano storage boxes, and some rechargeable lighting equipment, but there is no electricity here, so it can only be saved. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chi Feng doesn't care about this either. He is electricity himself and can use light bulbs indefinitely. He has prepared these things a long time ago, as well as a power storage box for storing electricity. In short, there is no need to worry about everything in life, just like living in a villa in a deep mountain and old forest, the concept of old age care. When night came, after everyone had set up their rooms, everyone sat in the eating house. Chi Feng took out a bunch of delicacies from the space warehouse and said, "Today is the first day, it's worth celebrating, so eat it's a little more luxurious, and we will eat sparingly afterwards. After all, there is still so much time. Haha, thank you brother Dark Knight, everyone cheers." Kurosawa happily raised the red wine glass in his hand. Everyone was also very grateful to Chi Feng for building a house for them. They picked up wine glasses and drank them all in one fell swoop. Then I ate it hungrily. Everyone was a little happy drinking, and all the unhappiness before was forgotten, such as Ochiai Minato, Mishima Kei's and Niwa Kairan. Now these three are very good for Chi Feng. There is no other thought at all. It's over almost today, don't drink too much, after all, this kind of place is not safe. Chi Feng got up and exclaimed, and then went back to the room by himself. The rest of the people returned to their houses one after another after they had eaten. Some strange sounds came from a distance at night, and some of the sounds were endless, as if they were approaching here. Chi Feng knew that these sounds were beasts, and some were relatively large insects. He flew over when he saw the light here. The grasshoppers in such places have the palms of human hands, and some spiders are bigger than humans. They are very scary. In short, it is not very safe here. However, to strengthen the defensive measures here, we can only wait until tomorrow. Chi Feng sits on a chair in his house at this moment and starts to shake the lottery turntable. He is about to become stronger, and he will be very strong, so that he will not be afraid of everything. With Chi Feng's lottery, the same things appeared, and the Quirk promotion Dan also appeared one by one, but the probability was not very high. Basically, it was food and some clothing items, the toothbrush used for Ida Tenya before. Also pulled out. In short, there are many weird things. After an hour passed, Chi Feng left 1,000 saving points, and there are more than 50 Quirk promotion pills on his table at the moment, and there are more than 30 Chi training pills. Chi Feng took out nearly 90 tubes of W-type reagent from his space warehouse and took a deep breath. All these things were absorbed. It is estimated that he can stand on a new height. Tonight is the day when I become stronger. Chi Feng did not hesitate, and raised a quirk into Dan Tun's mouth. The pill was instantly turned into experience and added to the air manipulation. Experience plus 300 inches. The second one is also 300 experience points. Chi Feng ate 10 quirk upgrade pills in a row, all of which were added 300 experience points. Open black lens bracket air operated LV73007400 close black lens bracket. It's 3000, and I can be elementalized by eating a dozen more. Chi Feng said excitedly. As long as the air is manipulated into elementalization, he is equivalent to an invincible existence. Because he can become air in this way, it is almost impossible for others to kill him. Colorless and tasteless, the air is the deadliest. Thinking that there were people around, Chi Feng put away everything, then ran out of the house directly, and flew towards the lake. Chi Feng fell on the hillside behind the lake. No one could see here. He took out the Quirk promotion pill and ate 11-1, and promoted these experiences to the second coming of Thor. Thor comes back LV 71,207,400. Congratulations to host Thor, who has returned to LV7. Chi Feng took a breath. This is too simple. The improvement in strength is like riding a rocket. I am afraid that he is the only person in the world today who has this kind of heaven-defying ability. No, maybe there is another one, that is the alien creature Ross. Thinking of the alien creature Lars, Chi Feng immediately ate 15 Quirk upgrade pills and added experience to the air manipulation. The next moment Chi Feng's body suddenly exploded. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Chapter 263 Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Chi Feng disappeared without a trace, but did not die, but became air. Successful. Chi Feng's excited voice sounded in the air, and he has now successfully raised the air manipulation to LV8. At this level, it is already a qualitative change. Chi Feng can be elementalized. It is not so easy for others to kill him. Open black lens bracket air operated LV8100148000 close black lens bracket. Congratulations to the host air control upgrade to LV8. Looking at the experience value numbers behind the air manipulation, Chi Feng knew that all resources must be used up to upgrade the air manipulation to LV9. The experience value of 14,800 is really too much. Even if Chi Feng uses up all the W-type reagents and Quirk upgrade pills, it can be upgraded to LV9. Chi Feng will not do it because it is not necessary at present. It is better to upgrade Thor's second coming to LV8 and reach the point of elementalization. At that time, Chi Feng can be transformed into Thor, which is more than twice as powerful as Horda's Thunder Dragon. Thinking of this, Chi Feng immediately ate all the remaining Quirk promotion pills, and then drank a few tubes of W-type reagent. The next moment Chi Feng lit up, illuminating everything around him like the day, and then Chi Feng turned into a blue lightning flew into the air. The blue lightning in the sky suddenly turned into a human figure, more than 3 meters tall, covered in thunder and lightning, but could not see the specific appearance. It felt like a high-ranking king. Chi Feng knows that this is only the initial state of Thor's second coming. As the Quirk improves again, the Thor's elementalized will become clearer and stronger. Because the light was too bright, some creatures around the house ran away in fright. Chi Feng also saved them from chasing them. Converging the light, Chi Feng returned to his human form and fell on the ground. Thor comes back LV 822,014,800. Congratulations to the host Thor's return to upgrade to LV8. Chi Feng took a deep breath. He was not satisfied, and began to sit cross-legged, swallowing a chi pill into his mouth, and began to absorb the rich spiritual energy around him. It was dawn in a blink of an eye, and Chi Feng stopped practicing as he watched the sunrise rise. It is not such a simple matter to step into the 7th level of chi training, but it can be achieved by giving him some time. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's time to work. Chi Feng feels refreshed, and now his strength is completely fearless of the First Emperor. If the chi training level is improved, it will not be difficult to kill the First Emperor. Today's job is to fortify the surroundings with some protective measures, which is to prevent those creatures from attacking their dwellings and causing unnecessary casualties. Seeing that everyone hadn't woken up yet, Chi Feng started to cut the trees by himself, and then made them into big wooden sticks, which were more than 3 meters high. They formed a circle about 50 meters outside the house, just to put everything. The houses are included, even the lake is no exception. Next, Chi Feng used ropes made of bark and grass, and twisted the wooden sticks, circle after circle, layer after layer, like a power grid. After doing all this, Chi Feng left these ropes with Chi Feng's spiritual symbol. As long as a creature touches these ropes, he can immediately find it. In this way, it played a precautionary role. As long as Chi Feng is discovered, he will kill those creatures as soon as possible. After taking precautions, Chi Feng flew to the distance and got a pile of wood and landed on the edge of the lake. The lake was about 1,000 square meters. Chi Feng wanted to turn this lake into a hot spring. So as long as you want to take a bath, you can come to soak. As for the fresh water he drinks every day, Chi Feng can use water polo instead. 1 water polo is enough for these people to drink for a day, so this lake is best for bathing. Chi Feng walked into the lake automatically separated into a waterway, unable to wet Chi Feng's clothes. When he came to the bottom of the lake, Chi Feng saw a lot of bones and corpses below, basically all of animals, human bones no one. There were only some aquatic creatures in this lake that didn't look like fish. Chi Feng walked up after feeling that he could not eat it, and then directly hit the water with a thunder arc. All the creatures and all the life in the water died, and then they floated up. In Chi Feng's hand, all the corpses on the surface of the water were taken by Chi Feng to the far side of the hillside. The air manipulation instantly covered the lake. Chi Feng stripped the remaining bones and some dirt from the bottom of the lake, and threw them away. Now the lake is extremely clean, with no harmful substances at all. Chi Feng even changed the color of the lake to transparent, improving the turbidity in the water. After doing all this, Chi Feng threw the wood into the water, and then used air to build a place where his feet could stand at a certain position under the water surface. When the lake was covered with wood, Chi Feng firmly used wooden nails. Fix them so that the first step is complete. The second step is to separate the male and female hot springs. Chi Feng directly blocked the hot springs, and then surrounded them with wood. In short, in the male hot springs, it is impossible to see the situation in the female hot springs, and it is impossible to peep. After half an hour, Chi Feng completed all the hot springs, which can be regarded as the end. At this time, everyone got up one after another. There was water from the lake last night in the room, so it was very convenient to wash your face and brush your teeth. After washing up, everyone ate breakfast in their room, and then walked out of the house to start activities. Kurosawa Kazunami was the first to walk out of the room. He was also taken aback when he saw the hot springs set up not far away, as well as the fence surrounded by strong wood. Let's come out and see. Brother Dark Knight has benefited us. Kurosawa sighed with emotion. It can be said that among these people, only Chi Feng's quirk is the most abnormal. You can build your own kingdom without hands. This is the truth. Bai Shui and Lan Qi also walked out at this time. They were about to take a bath when they saw that the lake had been transformed. Wow, what is this? Lan Qi cried out in surprise. Chi Feng walked over at this time and pointed his finger at the hot spring behind him and said, "This is the hot spring I built in the morning. It is divided into a male hot spring and a female hot spring. Anyone who wants to take a bath can go." Lan Qi said excitedly, "You are so amazing, I want to soak in the hot springs now." After speaking, she glanced at Bai Shui and asked, "Bai Shui, do you want to wash it together?" Bai Shui nodded and expressed her acquiescence. The Legend of Night is really a mysterious man. This kind of thing can be thought of. She originally thought that it would be enough to get a little water every day to take a bath. As a result, the Legend of Night directly transformed the lake into a hot spring field. Then what should we do if we drink water? Ochiai Minato had a headache. Originally, this lake was used to drink water for bathing, but now it is obviously impossible to drink it. You are stupid, isn't Niwa Kairan a water quirk? He can make a lot of water, so you don't have to worry about that. Mishima Kaze patted Niwa Kairan on the shoulder and said. Niwa Kairan nodded, yes, I still use it a little bit, but my quirk is seawater, which is a bit salty, so I need the help of the quirk of the predecessor of the night. Let me peel the salt in the sea, so there is no problem. It's really convenient. Nishio's mouth twitched. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Chapter 264 Is the Elephant King famous? Bitcoin Bank? A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Then you too should dig a pit at that location and store the seawater in. Then I will strip the salt. Chi Feng nodded, and then pointed to a clearing not far away with his finger, letting Niwa Sea People and Mishima Wind went to dig pits and fill water. Niwa Kairan and Mishima Kaze naturally didn't talk nonsense. Most of the things here were done by Senior Black Knight, and now it's natural for them to do this little thing. We want to soak in the hot spring right now, but the water is still cold. Lan Qi looked at the hot spring field not far away, and clearly felt that the water was cold. It's simple. Chi Feng waved his hand directly, and an invisible force entered the hot spring field. The water in the hot spring field immediately began to smoke and the temperature rose rapidly. It's amazing. Lan Qi said with bright eyes, and immediately dragged Bai Shui to the female hot spring field. When she got in front of her, she deliberately checked whether the hot spring field was sealed to see if it could be peeped. After repeated inspections and found that there was nothing wrong, Lan Qi began to take off her clothes, and there was a desirable scene under that seductive skin, which was a pity that no one could see. In fact, Chi Feng can see the whole body of anyone, but Chi Feng didn't do this. As long as he did it, he would be out of control. This might affect his Dao Xin, and then Lei Jia died while building the foundation, so Chi Feng didn't dare to do such a thing before building the foundation. After the foundation is built, it is not known. Under such a good environment, how can you not drink and soak in the hot springs? Kurosawa immediately took out a few bottles of red wine from the nano storage box, and then took out a few glasses. The men all entered the men's hot spring field. When they stripped their clothes and walked into the hot spring, they were extremely comfortable. This feeling is different from the outside world. In short, it is very novel. Kurosawa made a few wooden plates in a wave, floated on the water, and then distributed the red wine and wine glasses. Everyone could pour the wine by themselves. Chi Feng also threw 2 bottles of red wine to Lan Qi and Bai Shui from the air, and asked, "How is the water temperature?" "It can be hotter." Lan Qi responded. "Okay." Chi Feng immediately raised the water temperature by 2 degrees, and everyone felt refreshed. It's so cool. I have never experienced this kind of hot spring. You can change the temperature at will. Nishio Yuta leaned on the wood and said, "Enjoying this kind of life, like a fairy, where do you need to go to the country?" Fortunately, there are not many people left, otherwise it would be too noisy, and those people are very strong and may not be able to obey the management of the Legend of the Night, so the current situation is the best. This feeling reminds me of the time when I was in Ross country, where the hot springs were also good, Kurosawa said with a sip of wine. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chi Feng didn't respond to him, soaking in the bath quietly while absorbing aura. After an hour, everyone was almost soaked. After getting ashore, everyone wiped their bodies with their own bath towels, and returned to their rooms as soon as they put on their clothes and pants. At noon, Lan Chi specially invited guests to dinner in order to thank Chi Feng for his hospitality, saying that it was a treat but actually taking out the food she ate in her nano storage box and sharing it with everyone. The days have just begun. These days since Chi Feng took precautions, many creatures have been killed, and the corpses are still on the periphery, causing some other creatures who want to enter this area to hesitate. Because there are too many corpses on the ground, there are all kinds of creatures, so the next creatures dare not approach this place easily. In a blink of an eye, it has been more than half a month. Chi Feng expanded the camp again and built a lot of facilities, but they were all made of wood. Several lounge chairs are placed on the hillside behind the hot springs, where you can bask in the sun and eat some sweets after soaking in the hot springs. In short, the life is extremely comfortable. There are still a lot of computers in Kurosawa's nano storage box, and Chi Feng built a temporary computer room for playing games. Although there is no network, there is a local area network. Today's computers are all very advanced. As long as the computer is turned on, it will automatically share other computers, connect to the channel, and then you can play standalone games together. Therefore, the relationship between everyone is constantly heating up. But everyone is not playing all the time. They also took time to exercise Quirk to make themselves stronger. Chi Feng sent everyone a tube of W-type reagent to let them digest it first. The W-type reagent did not have much effect on the 3 emperors, but for these people at the level of the 7 sages, the effect was still good. Chi Feng sneered, "This guy is really arrogant, thinking that he is rubbish, he wants to kill him without saying a word." The next moment the brown-skinned man frowned. The punch he hit just now was actually resisted. How could this be possible? The brown-skinned man disapproved in his heart. This kid was just looking for death. He actually dared to fight with his fists like him. Rubbish was rubbish, and he couldn't distinguish between strength and weakness. "Who are you?" Chi Feng asked immediately. He hadn't seen this guy. Even if there were 800 or 900 people on the top of the volcano before, Chi Feng had no impression of this guy. He probably didn't go there at that time. Boom. Gradually, the camp became better and better, just like a star resort hotel. When Chi passed by, he realized that it was not a creature at all, but a person. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Time is speechless. One night 3 days later, early in the morning. The brown-skinned man didn't say a word, but stood still and punched Chi Feng, and a white elephant fist appeared instantly. The middle stage and the later stage of Chi training are watershed. Chi Feng, who has reached the later stage of Chi training, is stronger than before. Chi Feng woke up in his sleep. He was very surprised. No creature had touched his spiritual mark for more than half a month, but he actually touched it again tonight. With the passage of time, a full month after the establishment of the camp, Chi Feng's cultivation base has stepped into the 7th level of Chi training and reached the stage of Chi training. Chi Feng scratched his head, looked at the Idol King with some doubts and asked, "Is the Idol King, is it famous?" This man is covered in brown skin, with strings of ivory hanging on his neck, and complex tattoo designs on his bare forehead. These are not the most important thing. The most important thing is that Chi Feng feels the top emperor from this guy. The power of the strong. "It seems that I underestimated you. I am the king of idols of India. Are you afraid after hearing my name?" The king of idols smiled strangely, and the condescending feeling in his tone was undoubtedly revealed. Now Chi Feng wants to find a first emperor to see how strong he is. But Chi Feng is not the same Chi Feng as before. Suddenly he stepped forward and punched out. A rippled fist mark appeared, facing the opponent's white elephant fist shadow. What is the most common plastic surgery in Korea? Ad. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad Chapter 265 Fight against the top imperial powers. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. In fact, Chi Feng knows the Idol King. Idol King is also one of the most wanted criminals in the world. He is on the same list as Death's Scythe. But Chao Beichao said that the Idol King's strength is not as strong as Death's Sickle, and it is even more powerful. There are no non-national ghosts as powerful. On the list of most wanted criminals in the world, Idol King is at the bottom, but his strength is still very strong. Chi Feng feels that the King of Idols is not as powerful as the Shenquan. Chi Feng is very aware that the golden power in his body is like a vast ocean, which may explode at any time. And the Idol King in front of me seemed to be injured. It is estimated that it was an injury not long ago, and it hasn't recovered yet, so the strength of Idol King at this moment is not as good as before. Chi Feng punched him just now. Knowing his current approximate strength, this Idol King is not his opponent now. The Idol King was taken aback and looked at Chi Feng in disbelief. This guy is not weak, but his brain is not good. He hasn't even heard of the Idol King. Is this a fool? My Idol King is famous, are you ignorant? The Idol King frowned and said, but didn't do anything. Because he can see that this guy is also very strong, at least in the domain of the first emperor. And there are several houses around, and there should be people living in them. If the houses are all with the same strength as this guy, even the king of his idols will not be able to hold them. But this kind of place is so good, like a resort hotel. He is a little bored in this virgin forest, and he has not taken a good rest. If he can take this place, it will be very comfortable to find 2 chicks to play with. Don't talk so much nonsense. I asked you what you are doing here. Why did you break my guard? Chi Feng said unceremoniously, if he hadn't dared to mess with this kind of guy before, but now it's different, he doesn't fear of anyone. When the God Elephant King heard that Chi Feng dared to talk to him like this, his eyes suddenly became cold, just like his usual murder. Don't want to die. Do you think my strength is just the same as before? The Elephant King said blankly, with a strong killing intent in his tone. Chi Feng looked at Kaido coldly. Do you think I only have the strength just now? It seems that you really think that you have lived too long. The Elephant King is ready to do it. Wait a minute, we can't let go of the fight here, let's go to a place farther away. Chi Feng pointed his finger at the woods behind the Idol King and said. The Elephant King originally wanted to do it directly, but he was afraid that these buildings would be damaged. In the end, he would repair it himself, so it was unnecessary. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Don't play tricks. Not afraid of Chi Feng running away, the Elephant King turned and ran away. Chi Feng immediately followed, and it took more than 10 minutes for the 2 of them to stop. The camp is far away, and Chi Feng can use his methods without reservation. Say your name, I won't kill the unnamed, the Idol King said with a faint gaze. Remember, my name is Dark Knight Legend. The corner of Chi Feng's mouth rose slightly. I haven't heard of it, it seems it is really a scum. The King of Idols saw Chi Feng's raised mouth, the murderous intent in his heart had already spread, and he immediately came to Chi Feng with a meal. The speed of the God Elephant King is very fast, but Chi Feng's eyes are as fast at this time. He has seen the movement track of the God Elephant King. At this moment, the God Elephant King punches his abdomen, wanting to kill with one blow. Chi Feng immediately blocked it with a palm, and slapped the other hand on the face of the Idol King. The Idol King was hit like a ball by Chi Feng's palm and hit 4 or 5 big trees, stopped. Chi Feng flew out at the same time as the Idol King. He didn't block the punch of Idol King at all and was still knocked into the air. His punch was very powerful. No wonder it is called the Deity King, who should have the power of an elephant to call herself Deity King. Chi Feng stopped after knocking down 2 trees. There was a slight pain in his stomach, but it didn't seem to matter. That was the strength of this Idol King. Shen Xianglong didn't think so in his heart. After being beaten up, he still had a fiery pain on his face. For a long time, he hadn't been beaten like this. It could also be because of underestimating the enemy. He wanted to make a quick battle, but the opponent's speed was also very fast, and he couldn't react at all. The Elephant King also stopped, and the guy in front of him was really in trouble if he didn't use his strength to fight. After more than a dozen palms, Chi Feng condensed Ying Lei in only a dozen seconds, and smashed into the palm pit that Chi Feng shot into a pit. But before I waited for the King of Idol to react, Chi Feng turned into the air and disappeared without a trace. The King of Idol frowned and felt his surroundings carefully. Is this guy hiding? Ying Lei burst instantly, exploding the pothole deeper and wider. An air big hand directly smashed down in the sky and slapped the Idol King into the ground. Chi Feng once again condensed a thunderous palm and patted it down. Ha! The Idol King suddenly roared, and a sound wave instantly blocked Chi Feng's sword wave, but because Chi Feng's sword wave is relatively strong, Idol King couldn't completely block it, and it was still smashed, his body. But Chi Feng's speed is faster, whether it is the speed of thunder and lightning, or the speed of the air is extremely fast. When the Idol Dynasty Chi Feng rushed, Chi Feng directly retreated quickly, and then took out the short sword. When Chi Feng retreated to a certain level, he slashed out. This slash was far better than before in terms of speed and strength. The King of Gods just happened to rush towards this side. Chi Feng's slash came in the blink of an eye, before his eyes. Ah! The Elephant King roared, and a layer of power within his body waved away, and he continued to rush towards Chi Feng. This time his speed was even faster than before. The Idol King suddenly looked back and punched. Chi Feng turned into the air again, and the Idol King lost his goal again. The next moment Chi Feng appeared on the back of the Idol King, and a thunder spear was directly inserted into the Idol King's back, but because his back was relatively hard, the thunder spear was only pierced into the body by a dozen centimeters. Seeing that his attack only left a blood mark on the Elephant King, Chi Feng knew that this guy was not easy to deal with, but Chi Feng prepared everything. He knows that he has met a ruthless person. This kind of guy can disappear silently and appear silently. He has never heard of it before. Is this guy always low-key before? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Seeing that the other party was faster than himself, the King of God was shocked. What is the origin of this guy? I just heard him say it is the Legend of the Night, but he has never heard of the figure of the Legend of the Night at home and abroad. Fried. Boom. To deal with a powerful guy like the Idol King, you must fight at a long distance. The quirk of the Power Enhancement Department is well reflected in the Idol King. Advertise here Chapter 266 All Detour where you have you. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. In Chi Feng's thoughts, although the Idol King is a top imperial powerhouse, it depends on whom to deal with. If Horda enters the top imperial powerhouse, then Idol King is definitely not Horda's opponent. Because Horda is the element Quirk, Logia Quirk, and what is the quirk of the Idol King? Power increase, power of idols? Although this kind of single-handed combat is very strong, it is the same as All Might, but when you encounter someone with elemental quirk, you will lose the battle. Elemental quirk can be elementalized, just like Chi Feng, it can be transformed into air. Villain can't detect where he is, nor can he feel it. How would it feel when it becomes air? Chi Feng is in a delicate position. This delicate position makes Chi Feng in an invincible time. During this time no one wants to kill him. But turning into air, or turning into Thor, is very stamina consuming. However, Chi Feng is a 7-level Chi training and can keep up with physical strength. Unless he meets a very strong opponent, he can directly defeat Chi Feng. Otherwise, Chi Feng is invincible. According to the words of the rescue system, the highest quirk level is LV10. Chi Feng only needs one quirk to reach LV10 to be invincible. No one can beat Chi Feng unless it is not a human being. But thinking of the quirk level of LV10 is not easy. Now it needs 14,800 experience points. LV9 needs 29,600. LV10 is 59,200. This is a terrible number. Unless Chi Feng gets all the reagents from all over the world, then he can raise his quirk to LV10. But once Chi Feng does this, he will be the enemy of the world. Not only the professional heroes wanting Chi Feng, the underground heroes we will also want Chi Feng. Just like the current king of idols, Chi Feng is not so crazy. Unless someone pushes him to this point, he will take the risk. Want to run? Chi Feng sneered. The Elephant King actually escaped while he was in a daze. He seemed to be injured. However, Chi Feng's speed is too fast. There is a saying, no matter how fast you are, can you be faster than the speed of air transmission? That's right, the current Chi Feng is the speed of the air. Chi Feng can sense the direction in which the king is escaping. The farther he runs, the weaker the induction, perhaps because the air control quirk did not reach LV10. Maybe at LV10, Chi Feng, no matter where villain is, a single thought can pass. But now the king of idols wants to escape, it's still a bit short. Why don't you run away? Chi Feng's figure suddenly appeared behind the Idol King. The Idol King was shocked and rushed forward, then turned his head and pointed at the humanoid Chi Feng and said, "Can you stop chasing after him? Can't I serve you?" "Oh, that's not right, I didn't know who told me I was looking for death before." Chi Feng touched his chin and said, thinking. The king of idols can't wait to sack Chi Feng, but even if he puts out his full strength, he is not the opponent of this guy, because he can't fight at all. How can he fight? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Counting I have no eyes, there will be places where your Dark Knight legend is going on in the future. Will I take a detour? Said the idol Wong aggrieved. He was outside but the most wanted criminal in the world, and he was beaten like this by an unknown person, saying going out is absolutely embarrassing. Chi Feng suddenly became interested. That won't work, you have to come over to salute if there is a place for me in the future, or I want you to look good. Okay, there is no problem at all. Can I go now? The Elephant King had to agree to it first. As long as there is talk, what he is most afraid of now is that this guy doesn't care about it. Kill him, then it's really over. Wait. Chi Feng stopped the Immortal King who was about to leave. The Elephant King was almost crying, and he was still hot behind him. He was beaten so many hands and exploded by thunder. If it weren't for his body beyond ordinary people, he might have died. Is there anything else? The Elephant King said with a smile as much as possible. But Chi Feng felt that this smiling face was more ugly than crying, waved his hand and said, "Don't laugh, it's so ugly." Okay, I won't laugh. The Elephant King immediately said blankly, he wanted to leave this ghost place now. If Chi Feng asked intentionally, "Idol King, you are the most wanted person in the world, then I want to know what you have done that will be wanted by the world." The Elephant King was taken aback. Didn't you know my name? How come you now know that I am the most wanted criminal in the world? It's really a lie. However, the King of Gods would not say that he killed a lot of people. If the Knight Legend does not like to kill people like him, he will undoubtedly die. I have stolen the treasury and bank vaults of many countries. I have also had firefights with the military. In short, there have been unreconcilable conflicts with some countries, and they listed me as an international wanted criminal. The Elephant King said with a guilty conscience. Chi Feng then asked, "Is there a list of most wanted international criminals?" "Yes, I'll show it to you." The Elephant King very honestly took out a roster from the nano storage box and threw it to Chi Feng. Chi Feng casually moved the roster into his hands. After opening the roster, the first big red letter that caught his eye was Ross. Alien creature Russ, the most wanted international criminal. The second one is Dragon God, an international wanted criminal. The third one is Shadow, an international wanted criminal. The fourth. Chi Feng kept seeing the 10th, only to find out that it was the Sickle of Death, and then the ghosts of the non-state ranked 20th, and the King of Idols ranked 28th, which is the last. There are a total of 35 people on this international list of wanted criminals. Death Scythe is the 10th, It really has some strength. Maybe Death's Scythe will not be very difficult to kill the Idol King. I took the roster, you can roll. Chi Feng said flatly, and he decided not to kill this guy. Okay, I'll get out at once. There is still nonsense from the Elephant King, which directly turns into an afterimage and disappears in front of Chi Feng's eyes, running faster than a dog. Chi Feng glanced at the direction of the disappearance of the Elephant King, and then returned to the camp directly into the air. It was late at night. Chi Feng repaired the broken guard fence after returning to the camp, then went back to the room and fell asleep. There is no possibility that anyone will come here again. In the early morning of the next day, everyone ate breakfast as always, and then took a bath to bask in the sun. The days were extremely leisurely. No one found that Chi Feng had become very powerful. They were still worried about what to do if a powerful imperial power came over, but after a month, no one came. Only a few creatures come frequently, but they have decreased some time ago, and recently there hasn't been one. Lan Chi's figure is getting better and better. The waistcoat line on the belly is very obvious, and the beautiful body line, which has caused Kurosawa Yilong to be with Lan Chi recently, and even have to make an appointment for breakfast. But Lan Chi doesn't seem to have much interest in Kurosawa Ichiban. She prefers people like Underworld Legend. She looks very mysterious, especially the face. No one has ever seen the true face of Undernight Legend, right? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Chapter 267 Demon Hunter Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. This has been going on for half a month. Chi Feng's chi pills have been eaten several times. Now his chi training base is constantly increasing, and he is a little stronger than he was half a month ago. Chi Feng is lying on a wooden chair and basking in the sun. He enjoys this life very much, without restraint and without threatening feeling. I didn't expect that you would hide in this place, a voiceless voice sounded. Chi Feng knew that someone was coming, and only then looked up and saw that it was a demon hunter. This guy seems to really want to kill himself. It seems that these underground heroes have successfully entered the country without any danger. Devil Hunter. Kurosawa Yiren was shocked. What is this guy doing here? And the Devil Hunter just said the word, hide. Is he always looking for his own help? The rest of the people also showed vigilant expressions. It is obvious that the Demon Hunter is not good at coming. Such a Yuba environment is like a resort hotel. To be honest, I want to live here. The Demon Hunter looked around and said casually. If Li Guo didn't let them live in, he would definitely choose to live here, but now he is a little moved, and there are everything that should be here, except for some electronic equipment, which is perfect. At least in a primitive society without electricity and technology, this kind of life belongs to the upper class. What are you doing here? Chi Feng just sat up at this moment and asked in a very flat tone. The Demon Hunter shook his head and said, it's really ignorant. Do you think there are still people protecting you now? The powerful people in the island country are all in the country. You can't escape now. Except for Chi Feng, everyone's expressions have changed. Even Bai Shui has no choice. She hides her strength, but it is much worse to deal with the top imperial powers. You want to kill me? Chi Feng said in surprise. Knowingly asking, the main reason is that you have too much nonsense. Even I dare to stand up. Today is your death date. The Demon Hunter took out a two-edged sword from his back, and there was a hint of cold light on it. Chi Feng stood up from the wooden chair, and Kurosawa immediately said, run now, it's too late. It's too late. The Demon Hunter sneered, and the two-edged sword in his hand slashed directly at Chi Feng, and wanted to run in front of him, the top emperor. This was impossible. Chi Feng was chopped in half by the Demon Hunter's two-edged sword without saying a word, and fell to the ground. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Everyone's faces changed in vain, and the Dark Knight Legend was directly killed in this way. It's over, it's all over. Kurosawa said with a grim face. Chi Feng's death was attributed to the power of the Demon Hunter, and now all of them are dead. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect this kid to be so casually chopped. He died with just one sword. It's really boring. The Demon Hunter licked his lips and glanced at Bai Shui and Lan Chi. These two chicks are in good shape and look good. You can have fun this time, and then kill them again. None of the people here can let go, otherwise the strong people of the island country will know that he did it. We'll definitely be troubled. You guys don't move, I will perform a dragon show and 2 phoenixes in front of you. If you act rashly, I will kill you immediately. After the Demon Hunter finished speaking, he looked at Bai Shui and Lan Chi. You two will take off by yourself. Or should I help you? Bai Shui's face was like frost, and it was impossible to insult her. Even if she desperately died, she would not let the Demon Hunter succeed. You don't look at what you look like, you actually want to hit our idea? Lan Chi said with a sullen expression. It seems that you two don't want to give in. Hey, there is no way, I can only help you personally. The Demon Hunter is ready to do it. It was only then that Bai Shui noticed that Chi Feng's split body had no blood, not even internal organs, the fracture was transparent, and there was nothing. Chi Feng also knew that he couldn't put it on anymore. Otherwise Bai Shui and Lan Chi would be in danger, so he healed again in the eyes of everyone. After Chi Feng healed, he touched his helmet, which was also split in half. It seems that the things made by Gong Lao were also split in front of the top powerhouse. After turning around, Chi Feng immediately replaced the damaged helmet with black sunglasses. The whole demon hunter was a little unbelievable. He clearly killed this guy. Why did he close it again? Do he do magic? His two-edged sword knew best by himself. How could it heal after being split in half? Why are you okay? The demon hunter really couldn't figure it out. Isn't this guy's quirk air? How can it be healed after being split in half? Thinking that Chi Feng's quirk is air, the demon hunter frowned. Could it be that he can be elementalized? Impossible. Elementalization requires at least the strength of the second emperor or even the first emperor. The demon hunter knows that Chi Feng's current strength cannot be elementalized. Originally I wanted to let you go, but in the end you had to come and die. That's no fault of me. Chi Feng said in a flat tone. Although I don't know who the demon hunter is better than the idol king, it doesn't matter who it is. They couldn't directly hurt him. The demon hunter was taken aback for a moment, and then suddenly laughed. Are you dreaming? After being stabbed by me, you just didn't die. You actually slapped your nose and wanted to kill me? Kurosawa Yilong and the others were dumbfounded. Not only did Chi Feng not die, he actually uttered wild words. You must know that this one in front of you is the first emperor, the top powerhouse, and it is not something they can deal with. Brother Dark Knight, what's the matter with you? Kurosawa asked tentatively. He thought that Chi Feng's brain was abnormal. Shouldn't he take everyone to flee at this time? How could he provoke a ruthless person like a demon hunter? You guys step back. Today is the time for you to see my true strength. Chi Feng waved his hand and signaled Kurosawa Kazunami and others to step back. Aren't you serious? Kurosawa was about to cry all the time. It was this time that the Dark Knight brother was still able to do it. He knew how many kilos and a few kilos of Kurosawa had a wave, even if the Dark Knight brother had hidden his strength. It's impossible to beat a demon hunter. Go aside, don't hinder me. Chi Feng is a little annoyed. Kurosawa's eyes are blinded by fear, and now it's useless to say anything to him. Kurosawa Kazuki wanted to say something, but Shirayuki stopped him. Let's listen to him and let him do it himself. Kurosawa had no choice but to retreat. If Chi Feng died and they would not survive, it would be better to face it calmly. Ha 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 ha. The demon hunter laughed a few times before looking at Chi Feng. Are you looking down on me, or do you know that you are going to die and be a hero before you die? Don't talk nonsense, Grandpa. I don't have so much time to talk with you here. This place was built by me. I have to hit it outside. Chi Feng looked around, still felt that it was not appropriate to do it here. Flew up and flew away. Looking for death. The demon hunter acted directly, and a cyan flame slashed along the double-edged sword and struck Chi Feng behind. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertise here chapter 268 fighting against the top powers again. Bitcoin Bank, a young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Lousy tells you not to do it here. Chi Feng turned around and directly condensed a big air hand, extinguishing the cyan flames that the demon hunter split, and then patted the place where the demon hunter originally stood. The wooden floor was just like this. Chi Feng smashed directly with a palm. The demon hunter had already landed on the roof. At this moment, he looked at Chi Feng in disbelief. His attack was directly dissipated. The feeling just now was like facing someone stronger than himself. That's right, it's this feeling, as if he is not facing the scum and black, but a very strong top power. Kurosawa wiped his eyes with his hand. Is this true? The Dark Knight brothers actually shot the demon hunter's attack directly, and then let the demon hunter evade. Mishima Kase and Niwa Kirin were even more speechless. They thought that everyone's days were over. As a result, the legend of the night, oh no, the predecessor of the night actually smashed Kamui directly and slapped the demon hunter with a palm. Arrogance. It felt like they were dreaming. Although the Legend of Night in the Imperial League ranking tournament had crushed them, it was not so strong. After only a long time, they were beyond the reach. You pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger? The demon hunter frowned, and he was able to attack and crack him hastily, and the strength of the attacker was at least as strong as him. Don't talk nonsense, come with me if you want to fight, Chi Feng said coldly, and at the same time told Kurosawa Yilong and others not to go around. Seeing Chi Feng's departure, the demon hunter had no choice but to keep up. No matter what, he must kill this person today. After passing through a forest, Chi Feng stopped suddenly, and the demon hunter who followed him also stopped immediately. Chi Feng slowly turned around, looking at the demon hunter with plain eyes, and said, "A few months ago, I was definitely not your opponent. If you killed me at that time, I would most run away, and now. So you have become invincible in a few months?" The demon hunter sneered. This guy seemed to be really ordinary. "Yes, I can be said to be invincible now, at least you can't be my opponent." Chi Feng shook his head and said, "There were a lot of people who strangled me at the beginning, but they are all dead, and you are not listed." For the demon hunter, Chi Feng did not intend to let it go. This guy is different from the Idol King. The Idol King came to his place inadvertently, and the demon hunter came to him specially, with a different nature. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If this kind of person is let go, there will be endless troubles. After all, there is a lot of power behind a top powerhouse. After Chi Feng goes out this time, he wants to let all these forces know his name, and no one will underestimate him. You really dare to say that even people in this world who are better than me dare not say that they are invincible? Do you still dare to say that they are invincible? The demon hunter bared his teeth and prepared to do it. Then I will let you see what it means to be helpless. Chi Feng suddenly turned into air, his clothes and pants fell on the ground, and the person disappeared so abruptly. The demon hunter found Chi Feng disappeared as soon as he wanted to start his hand. He couldn't do anything, and then he felt a force coming from the back of his head. He quickly turned around and slashed out, but he was slashed. It's useless. Chi Feng took a palm from the sky and slapped the demon hunter directly into the ground. The demon hunter quickly rushed up from the ground. Devil incarnation. The demon hunter began to transform, which is the incarnation of the non-element Quirk. The black demon hunter, with a pair of black wings behind him, only his eyes are red and glowing. It seems that he really looks like a demon. Devil explosion. The demon hunter could not find the specific location of Chi Feng, so he could only use an attack to find Chi Feng. At this moment, he was shocked, and his body exuded a dark ripple from the inside out, bursting to the surroundings. Some trees directly in this burst into shreds. However, there is still no whereabouts of Chi Feng, and it seems to have really disappeared. Although Chi Feng turned into air, this attack also gave him some shock, but it was all trivial. At this moment, Chi Feng swung dozens of thunder spears and rushed towards the demon hunter. The demon hunter was still looking for Chi Feng's location, and as a result, a blue thunder gun suddenly appeared in the air. He was so frightened that he immediately used a black scimitar to resist, but because the speed was too fast, several thunder guns were inserted on his body. Who are you? The demon hunter was finally shocked. The opponent disappeared. There would be a thunder and lightning quirk, just like Hoda, which is too abnormal. It can be said that basically no one is like this. Even if the double quirk is cultivated to this level, there are not many people in the world. Even he has not seen a few demon hunters, and the double quirk in front of this guy seems to be elemental quirk. How is this possible? Element quirk is the strongest representative of all quirks, and it is also the most difficult to improve, but this guy seems to have been promoted to a very strong point. Anyway, you are going to die, it doesn't matter if I tell you. Chi Feng's voice echoed in the woods. I have two identities outside. The first is the dark horse Chi Feng from Heroes Class A in the first grade of UA High School. The second is the underground heroes Shibuya's 7th Holy Legend of the Dark Knight, which can be said to occupy the black and white. UA High School student. The demon hunter buzzed his head. How could this be possible? A student is just a kid, at most 16 or 17 years old, and his demon hunter is already in his 30s. Only to promote myself to this point. The age difference has doubled, and it feels like a dream. There are actually such young and strong people in this world, which the demon hunter finds impossible. At least there will be no such people in this world. Awakening at the age of 4 or 5 will not be as strong as when he was a teenager. Even if you keep improving the quirk, you will have to become stronger at the age of 20 or 30, but it still can't threaten him. But this one in front of him, the person named Chi Feng, is just a teenager according to his statement, and he can hardly deal with it. Does it feel unexpected? Chi Feng laughed. I also feel very surprised. After such a long time, I have been weak until now. Someone wanted to strangle me and I also escaped to death. Villain was successfully eradicated, but it was outside. I still have some people to kill, and they will be liquidated one by one. Aren't you afraid of being wanted? The demon hunter said with a bit of excitement. The existence of such a person is really terrifying. Can't the teachers of UA High School all might also see the top powers hidden in the student group? It doesn't exist. Even if I am wanted by the world, I still stand on the side of justice. I want to be the #1 player in this world. Even All Might can't stop my footsteps. Chi Feng's tone suddenly became bold. Stand up. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Add the hottest zodiac signs, you won't believe who tops the list. Add chapter 269, suddenly invincible Bitcoin bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. I admit that you are very powerful, but what you said is too naive. Do you know how many strong men are in this world? Those strong men will turn the world upside down as soon as they are born, even if they are all might. It's impossible to come here scrupulously. The demon hunter then said, the balance of this world is established in the hands of these strong men. People like you suddenly appear. The hidden strong men in the world will not let you go, so don't be happy too early. The imperial level powerhouse is just a clear definition. Above the imperial level powerhouse, there is a level of strength you don't know. It is the first time that Chi Feng has heard of this kind of thing. Even Chao Beichao has not told him about it. Is it because he is not strong enough? Thank you for telling me this, but you should be on the road. Chi Feng sneered, and the surrounding air began to change. The demon hunter suddenly felt the air around him begin to compress, squeezing him in all directions, and he was a little hard to break free. You can't kill me, I am a top German strongman. There are many people standing behind me. If I die, you will be endlessly hunted down. The demon hunter is finally scared. His quirk is a demon. However, although the demon body is strong, it can only deal with the physical, and he has nothing to do with the invisible and shapeless people like Chi Feng. This may be what Chi Feng calls invincible, but the demon hunter knows that this is not invincible. If Chi Feng meets a top element Quirk, he won't want to deal with him so easily. What I don't like is being threatened and hunted down. You let them try and kill all lousy. Chi Feng suddenly increased his strength, almost squeezing the body of the demon hunter with all his strength. Puff! Under Chi Feng's full squeeze, the demon hunter spit out a mouthful of blood and died. All his internal organs were shattered, and then he fell to the ground in his original form. Chi Feng also showed his body and went to search for the body of the demon hunter, only to find that the nano storage box had been squeezed by his air. But Chi Feng found a sheepskin scroll on the body of the demon hunter with a painting on it. He was holding a map, but Chi Feng simply put it away because he couldn't understand it. Chi Feng threw a fireball on the body of the demon hunter, and the body of the demon hunter was burned to ashes. At the same time, somewhere in Germany, a container of black energy suddenly exploded. What's the matter? The two Germans guarding the room changed their faces and stood up. The container with black energy is the energy group of their top powerhouse demon hunter. This energy group can only represent one person, life characteristics. Now the energy group is exploding, which means that the demon hunter has died in that small world. The one who can kill the demon hunter must be the top-level powerhouse. In fact, even the top-level powerhouse can kill the demon hunter not so easily, because people of this level can run even if they can't beat them, and won't be killed directly. What should I do now? Asked the German who was guarding the room. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Nonsense, quickly inform the upper level, this is not something we can take care of. Another German rushed out of the room after saying a word. Chi Feng had already returned to the camp at this moment. He had no idea that anyone in the outside world had known the news that the demon hunter had died, just like a soul card. Soul cards are a means of cultivating immortals. There will be soul cards after the foundation period. This kind of spiritual pattern cards are produced by yourself. Then when the person dies, the soul cards will be broken, and the soul cards will be broken. Sometimes there will be some information that can be read, roughly the information related to the cause of death. However, this kind of energy group of the demon hunter is obviously incomparable with the soul card. It has no information to send out, only the information that he is dead. Brother Dark Knight, are you back? Kurosawa said in a wave of disbelief. The rest of them are looking behind Chi Feng, waiting for the demon hunter to appear. However, after waiting for a few minutes, the demon hunter was stunned that no shadow appeared. Where is the demon hunter? Nishio Yutu asked in a low voice, feeling anxious. I killed it. Chi Feng said lightly, as if talking about things that had nothing to do with him. He lay down on a wooden chair and then basked in the sun. Everyone froze for a few seconds, and then shouted in unison, dead? Why, is it weird? Chi Feng asked without looking up. Of course it's weird. I rely on it, isn't it weird? Kurosawa immediately walked to Chi Feng and said, everyone has a general understanding of your strength. It's just that you have just entered the Imperial Realm. How long has it passed since then? Time, you can kill the demon hunter, just kidding. Shente is suddenly invincible, and we are not fools. How come we are not invincible? Nishio Yutai stroked his forehead. Obviously, the Legend of the Night was reluctant to say it before composing such a sudden invincibility. Maybe your fate has not arrived yet. Chi Feng took out a peach juice from the space warehouse and drank it. Ah, Chi Feng, why are you here? Hesha said weakly. The moment she saw Chi Feng, she suddenly felt relieved. FCK, can this be concealed? You have killed the demon hunter, brother, he is a top powerhouse. Let's talk, what's the matter with you? Kurosawa sat down on the couch next to Chi Feng and asked. He and Chi Feng are relatively familiar, but so far I still can't see through Chi Feng. It seems this guy is always mysterious. Chi Feng immediately flew over and landed in front of Bisha. What's the matter? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Yes, it feels like dreaming, Lan Chi said without believing it. At this moment, Chi Feng saw Pisha running towards this side, and Pisha was chasing 5 or 6 Pegwo soldiers behind her. The rest of the people had this expression. Ochiai Minato felt his body numb. He had fought with Chi Feng at the beginning. There was no long time between then and now. As a result, this guy actually went straight from the 7th sage. Down the ranks of the top powerhouses. Is it that Chi Feng, like playing a game, directly opened the plugin? Are you the one fighting Gunara? The soldiers of the country who came after them stopped, and did not start immediately. Is it necessary to tell these people that he has a system bound to him, and then the W reagent can be drunk indefinitely, and the strength will be improved by drinking it? This kind of thing is a ghost. The rest of the people don't want to talk to Chi Feng anymore. You can say such things before fate. Will your conscience hurt? This is the thought in everyone's mind. Even if someone scolds Chi Feng for being unkind, they dare not say it in person, because Chi Feng is already an unattainable existence. What else can I say? I'm suddenly invincible. Chi Feng smacked his lips without explaining why he suddenly became so strong. Besides, he couldn't explain it. Hey, it seems that I can't hide it from you. Chi Feng shook his head, seemingly annoyed. It was the worst day of her life and it was captured on camera. Ad exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad chapter 270 Thundercage Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. My uncle and I were deceived by the country. After all, we are traitors. The king just let us spend more than a month in peace, and then he attacked us. The uncle was dead in order to protect me. Hesha's tears flowed down, and now she is really unaccompanied. I knew I shouldn't have let you go. Chi Feng sighed. This kind of thing is expected. The underground heroes are also very selfish. It is conceivable that no one will stand up for it except China and the island countries. Hesha speaks. Hand over Hussa, otherwise our admiral army will be your death date. At this time, a soldier of the country said. Chi Feng directly passed an air handprint and twisted the neck of the soldier from the country. Do you dare to do it? The other soldiers of the country took a few steps back. They are all the strength of the third emperor. It's okay to chase after the emperor, but they can't do it with this guy wearing sunglasses because they are not Gunara. Naturally, his opponent is not the opponent of the person in front of him. Only wait for the admiral army to come. I will not only do it, but I will kill you. Chi Feng directly pinched the remaining 5 soldiers together with his big air hands. Dare you? One of the soldiers roared. The admiral army is not far away, they immediately. Before finishing a sentence, Chi Feng squeezed the 5 soldiers into a ball of meat and died. Bisha closed her eyes, she could hardly see this bloody scene. Chi Feng took Lisha and flew back to the camp, and then flew out again. He also wanted to kill the admiral army. According to the previous battle between Li and Wu, there must be not much admiral army. Chi Feng only searched for a while, and saw the blood-covered lazy husband lying in a pool of blood. There were 3 people standing beside the lazy husband. It is estimated that they were the admiral army mentioned by the soldiers of the country. At this moment, the lazy man has no breath. Even if Chi Feng sucks the Quirk supplement on the lazy man, it will not help. Although his Quirk supplement can save people, it can't bring the dead back to life. With more than 10,000 rescue points drawn before, Chi Feng has already received a lot of Quirk supplements. It can be said that it is a little difficult to get it all. In short, there are a lot of them. Chi Feng fell in front of the lazy husband and put his body in the nano storage box. Who are you? The 3 admiral troops discovered Chi Feng at this moment and took out their weapons one after another. Chi Feng glanced at these 3 people and hadn't seen them. These 3 guys didn't seem to take part in the Battle of Bingguo, because they should have kept their hands in Bingguo. I'm here to kill you. Chi Feng lifted his right hand, and 3 thunder pillars fell from the sky and landed on the 3 admiral troops. The 3 admiral troops were struck by lightning immediately, and they screamed in pain, but they were worthy of being generals. They broke free of the thunder pillar in only 10 seconds. After the 3 of them dispersed, they stared at Chi Feng with fear. They have never seen the battle between the people of the country and the people on Earth, so they don't know what Chi Feng is. In short, they have never seen it before. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The 3 of you are here to repent slowly. Chi Feng gathered strength with both hands and suddenly shouted, Thunder and Lightning Cage. Zitza. Within a radius of 30 meters, a quadrangular mine net is formed, which rises high. The top of the mine net is closed like a cage, trapping the 3 admiral armies in it. Thundernet is not only as simple as thunder and lightning, but also magnetism. The 3 admiral armies are hard to move at this moment. They are all struggling with the attack of thunder electromagnetic force. After tens of seconds, the temperature of the lightning grid began to rise, like an oven, causing the admiral army's skin inside to start to smoke. Chi Feng said in a cold tone. The people of the country only rely on brute force to become the top power. In the face of natural forces, you are insignificant. Quickly let us out. One of the admiral soldiers cried out in pain. He had never seen such an attack method before, and actually trapped them in thunder and lightning. Even if their bodies are strong, they will not be able to do so. Survive. It doesn't exist to let you go out. Enjoy it. Chi Feng increased his strength after saying this, and wanted to quickly end these 3 people. With his current strength, he could not make the attack after the person left, so he had to use the sword himself to quickly kill these 3 people. The thunder and lightning cages became dense, and the situation of the 3 admiral forces inside could have been seen with the naked eye. Now that the lightning is dense, nothing can be seen anymore, only the square blue thunder and lightning are constantly making sounds. Chi Feng continues to increase the temperature, reaching a temperature that ordinary people cannot resist. Ah, help, please, let us out, I'm dying. 3 admiral soldiers roared from the thunder and lightning cage, which seemed extremely painful. Some creatures in the distance looked at this place in awe, and they didn't dare to come close at all. Some creatures flee in fright. Vitality is really strong. Chi Feng had to sigh that normal human imperial level powerhouses will die at 120% temperature, and the vitality of these admiral troops is so strong that they are still insisting on it. Temperature 100%, temperature 70%. As soon as Chi Feng returned to the camp, everyone gathered around, and Bisha asked directly. Hesha immediately fell to her knees and said with tears, I killed uncle. Temperature 120%, your uncle is dead, but I killed all the people who came after him. As for whether the country will send someone to find him, I don't know. Chi Feng took out the body of the lazy husband after speaking. The lazy man lay quietly on the ground covered in blood. Chi Feng didn't say anything, so he let Lisha cry enough. After Lisha finished crying, Chi Feng took away the body of the lazy husband, and then went to the back field with everyone and dug a hole. Bury the lazy husband in, and set up a plaque for the lazy husband before leaving. How's it going? But when thinking of the person who trapped them in this kind of place, the Admiral Army's face suddenly turned gray. Even the top powerhouses of the country like them have been tortured in this way, even if there are other Admiral Army, what is the point? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. I'm almost enjoying it. Let me give you the last one. Chi Feng just finished this sentence. There was an Admiral Army in it and he couldn't stand it after hearing it. The other two wanted to hold on again, in case there were reinforcements. Support it. 200% temperature. Chi Feng heaved a sigh of relief after removing the thunder and lightning cage. It was really hard to kill the three strong men this time, mainly because of the weakness on the Quirk. Temperature 80%. After the temperature reached 120%, there was no roar in the lightning cage. Chi Feng swept out the divine sense, and the three Admiral soldiers were still hanging on the ground. They fell to the ground without being completely dead. Everyone knows about Chi Feng's strength, except that he doesn't know about it, so now they're very relieved that Chi Feng hasn't seen that there's not even a single injury on his body when he comes back now. No one can leave a scar on Undernight Legend's body. In the end, Chi Feng raised the temperature directly to 200 degrees. The two Admiral soldiers who wanted to hold on were also heated to death in an instant, even their bodies were burned, and then burned to ashes. Chapter 271 Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. It's only at this time that Bisha reacted. Chi Feng said that he killed all the soldiers who were chasing from the country. Among those soldiers, there were 3 Admiral troops. Could it be that Chi Feng also killed? If they didn't kill the Admiral Army, they would find here sooner or later. Did you just say that you killed everyone who was chasing by the country? Bisha asked again. She must confirm. Yeah, and the 3 Admiral troops were all turned ashes by me. Chi Feng nodded and said. You killed all the 3 Admiral troops? Hesha exclaimed in surprise. The rest are obviously not as surprised as Lisha. The Admiral Army is a top-level powerhouse, but without Quirk, it is just a strong physical body. People who encounter a powerful Quirk like Chi Feng will inevitably die. Hersha also noticed that the other people's expressions didn't seem surprised. Don't these people know that the Admiral Army is very strong? Killing her is like killing a chicken. Don't be surprised. They are all cats and dogs. My current strength is not something anyone can bully. Chi Feng flew towards the camp. This area is safe. At least this time there should be no problem. Bisha is still in shock. When did Chi Feng become so strong? The impression of Chi Feng is not so strong. But who knows that it only takes one night for Chi Feng to become stronger. After Lai Sha joined Chi Feng's camp, there was not much change in the food. Everyone gathered some food for Lai Sha to eat, basically without any pressure. Bisha also quickly integrated into the group, chatting and laughing with Bai Shui Lanqi in the bath, and from time to time Chi Feng could hear Lanqi and Bisha discussing skin problems. Chi Feng thought of Bisha's swarthy skin, so he fought a cold war. Although Bisha looks pretty, but he is black, Chi Feng still prefers white skin. In this way, without knowing it, another 3 months have passed, and about 3 months before the 1-year deadline. Chi Feng's cultivation base at this time has also broken through to the 8th level of Chi training, and Chi training pill is by him. Almost eaten, only 1 or 2 left. After reaching the 8th level of Chi training, Chi Feng's physical convenience has been strengthened. Now Chi Feng's strength is estimated to avoid the edge of Shenquan, but Chi Feng always feels that Shenquan is not so simple. The quirk of Shenquan is very mysterious, and it feels like an ordinary person. Comparable. At least Chi Feng feels that the demon hunter is not an opponent of Shenquan. During this period, Chi Feng gave everyone the W-type reagent twice, and everyone's strength has also improved a lot, at least not comparable to the previous one. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. One night, when Chi Feng was about to sleep, he felt something touched his mark, so he immediately came out to check the situation. I saw Chao Beichao standing in the guard bar with disheveled hair, just like a beggar. Old man, what are you doing? Chi Feng looked at Chao Beichao with his eyes wide open. This picture of Chao Beichao is really embarrassing. Your kid is here, I've been looking for it for a long time. Chao Beichao walked over with a haha. Without the slightest fatigue in his tone, it was full of excitement. Be quiet, everyone is asleep. Let's go to the bathhouse and talk. You should wash yourself. Chi Feng immediately took Chao Beichao to the hot spring room to take a bath. After the two took off their clothes, the smell of Chao Beichao came out. Chi Feng immediately frowned and said, You said you are also a cultivator, how can it smell like this? You go picking up the trash? Chao Beichao said embarrassingly. That's not true, but the king of the kingdom chased me down. I ran for a long time before I escaped his demon. Chi Feng went to the dust and hit Chao Beichao. Chao Beichao's body was immediately clean. Only then did Chi Feng let him come down to take a bath. After soaking in the water, Chi Feng asked. The king of the country found you stole something from them? Yes, otherwise, what are you doing after me? Xiao Beichao suddenly became excited when he said here, this time we really got rich. I got a vault in the country and I took away a lot of good things. There are still a lot of gems, even gold bricks. Basically, my dozens of nano storage boxes are full. Awesome old man, you deserve to be born as a gangster. Chi Feng gave Xiao Beichao a thumbs up. Don't be happy too early. It is estimated that you will be able to hide it soon. The underground heroes have been hunted out. Now there is nowhere to hide. The soldiers of the country are also looking for my whereabouts. Anyway, the country is dispatched. Thousands of troops are looking for us. But it's impossible to say that Chi Feng has no secrets. When he first met Chi Feng was just a scum. How long has passed since he was no longer an opponent even during the foundation building period? This is definitely something. There are big secrets. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Before Chi Feng met Huada, the lotus he got in the pond is probably a good thing, but this kind of thing is rare in this small world, and basically you can't find it. A few months ago, he came here to kill me, but I killed him, Chi Feng said with a mouthful of white teeth. Chi Feng did not continue to talk about this topic with Xiao Beichao, but seriously asked, I heard the demon hunter say that there is another realm above the imperial power? At this time, Chi Feng turned into air and disappeared without a trace in the bathhouse. Xiao Beichao's consciousness was swept out immediately, and his face changed. Does your kid have any big secrets from me? Xiao Beichao believed Chi Feng's words. It is indeed possible to kill the demon hunter with Chi Feng's method, because it has been elementalized. When did he tell you? Xiao Beichao put a smile away. Damn, you're done. Chi Feng pointed at Xiao Beichao and said, everyone you killed was chased down. Didn't they cruel you to the bone? There are secrets of course, but there is no way. I must keep it from you. When I am invincible in the world, I can take you for another ride. Chi Feng turned into air and returned to the place where he used to take a bath. Xiao Beichao squinted his eyes to look at Chi Feng. I don't know how capable you are. How can you kill the demon hunter? How about it, now you are not my opponent. Chi Feng suddenly appeared next to Xiao Beichao and said with a smile. Xiao Beichao waved his hand and said, so what? The old man is now well developed. After going out, he will be a good man. Do you want anything? Chi Feng disappeared. He didn't find where Chi Feng was, so he disappeared abruptly. Xiao Beichao's face suddenly turned dark when he heard Chi Feng say this. Really, the only thing he wanted was training resources. Ambition is really big. There are too many strong men in the world, just as the demon hunter told you before. There are strong men above the emperor level strong ones. Xiao Beichao's tone became solemn. Can you get cultivation resources? Chi Feng said sarcastically, what else do you want? The world has the least cultivation resources for monks, basically none. As long as you have money, you can get anything in this world. I don't believe it. I can't buy cultivation resources with money. Xiao Beichao said in disbelief. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Add chapter 272 Bitcoin bank millionaire shows how she became wealthy. The fastest way to earn money shocks the world. Learn more. So, what field is above the imperial level powerhouse? Chi Feng originally thought that the imperial level powerhouse was the top level powerhouse, but he was not. In Chi Feng's thinking, the emperor is above the emperor, and above the emperor, only All Might and the bald man are invincible. Now Chi Feng doesn't think so. The bald man has no elemental quirk, so he can't be elementalized, so he won't be able to hit Chi Feng. The air quirk is unique in this world. Even the Raiden quirk is not unique. Chi Feng now knows that Horda is the Raiden quirk. As for whether anyone else is a Raiden quirk, Chi Feng is not clear. Emperor-level powerhouses are basically the people of the hidden world. They all play the role of the ultimate trump card behind each force. There are also some hidden world powers who never set foot in the world, and do not belong to any strength. Zhou Beichao turned around and said, they're called the double god realm, god-level powerhouses. Is there anything wrong? There is a god level above the emperor level? Chi Feng was speechless. Is there an emperor level above the god level? That's not true. The double god realm is the highest realm. The first power in the island nation, All Might, is the first god in the double god realm. Even the emperor of the Imperial League is only the second god in the double god realm. However, there are many god-level powerhouses like emperors, even the first gods. They can be evenly matched with All Might, or even stronger. Xiao Beichao continued, so you still have a way to go from invincible, but your strength has improved too quickly, like Shang Rocket. As long as your current strength is not a god-level powerhouse, there will be no one. What can I do with you? Even if the god-level powerhouse is dispatched, their quirk is not as strong as yours. It can't deal with you. Your air quirk has grown to the point where they can't kill it. Yeah, I should also be in the eyes of the strong in the world. Chi Feng smiled. The villain alliance has no threat to him. To put it bluntly, except for the bald man supporting behind, the strength of the rest of the villain alliance all belong to the average level. The level of the Seven Saints is relatively high, and there are too few imperial level powerhouses. This time Chi Feng intends to teach Shigaraki Tamura directly, so that this guy will not dare to continue to attack the students of UA High School in the future. Chi Feng is always worried about the Midoriya brothers and them. After the shower, Xiao Beichao briefly chatted with Chi Feng, and then began to divide the spoils. According to what the two said, 6 and 4 points. Chi Feng 4, Xiao Beichao 6, it doesn't matter to this Chi Feng, even 4 is an endless wealth. Boy, are you ready? Xiao Bei said, standing in the lounge of the hot spring field, which is relatively spacious. Come on, take out everything, don't keep the good things for yourself. Chi Feng smiled, he knows the character of this guy Xiao Beichao, he puts away the good things by himself, and leaves some worthless ones for him. Xiao Beichao said awkwardly, how can you treat me like that? Am I that kind of person? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Do you know it yourself? Hurry up and divide things, it won't be good when someone wakes up, Chi Feng urged. Okay, I'll open your eyes. Xiao Beichao immediately pours things out of the nano storage box. The golden items are poured on the ground, slowly turning into a hill, and then into a Chi Feng Jinshan is still high. This is not over yet, and Xiao Beichao went upside down. When everything was taken out, the restroom of the hot spring resort was filled up, leaving only the place where Chi Feng and Xiao Beichao stood. It's no wonder that the king of the kingdom will chase you wildly. It turns out that you have made so many things. Chi Feng is also a little slapped. If so many gold treasures are sold outside, Chi Feng will spend a few lifetimes. With this money, Chi Feng can upgrade his strength to a god-level powerhouse, and then the world is invincible. Thinking of his invincible posture, Chi Feng's heart was full of heart, and he immediately said, Old Xiao, you did a good job this time. Let's start to divide things. You take one and I take one. In the end, the rest will be yours. Xiao Beichao thought for a while and said, okay, let's start. Then Chi Feng took one piece from Xiao Beichao and one piece, just like that. After half an hour, the two of you picked up what I picked and finished everything. I trade things with you. Chi Feng said. What are you talking about? Xiao Beichao stared. Xiao Beichao calmed down his sullenness, and then took out the remaining good things, a pile of gems, diamonds, and gold cups. Chi Feng immediately took out the golden washbasin he had put away before, and then poured the water of time into the washbasin. Then he looked at Xiao Beichao and said, do you know what this is? In the end, more than 100 pieces of Chi Feng were left directly to Xiao Beichao, and then he said, hurry up and take out the valuable things. I know you still hide some of the most precious things. I want that futon. Chi Feng stretched out his hand to get it, but was slapped open by Xiao Beichao. The beauty you think of, I have the right to choose first. This futon is mine. Xiao Beichao stopped his hand movement, and after looking at the time water, he suddenly said, is this the black water in the grave pond last time? No way, because you are more thief. Chi Feng laughed. Hurry up, time waits for no one. Chi Feng waved his hand. Time water. Xiao Beichao let out a horror. After walking over, he touched the water with his hand. He was shocked to find that the same as Chi Feng said, the most important thing is to prevent oneself from aging, which is equal to the passage of time outside. People in the water of time can never age. No, I don't change anything. After saying that, Xiao Beichao reached out for the futon. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Although Xiao Beichao is already in the base construction period, and his lifespan is at least twice as long as that of normal people, how can anyone think that he lives long? You have too little water in this time. I used it to be useless. Don't change it, Xiao Beichao said after thinking about it. Although the water in this time is a good thing, it is too little. Xiao Beichao twitched his mouth and said, when did your kid become such a thief? Among them is a golden futon. Chi Feng felt it's extraordinary at first glance. There is a strong aura in Putian, which seems to be extremely large. Neither, Chi Feng knew that Xiao Beichao would think that the water was in the grave last time. This water was stolen from the country by me. It is called time water. There is no time in this water, and life can be preserved forever. This is one of the best things in the country. Then you underestimate me. I have enough time water for your big bathtub. How about, you give me the futon, and I give you enough time water for you, so that you can sleep every night. You must know that 24 hours a day, people spend 1/3 of their time in sleep, so time is wasted. Time water will subtract your sleep time, so that you are more how long others have lived. Chi Feng helped Xiao Beichao analyze it, exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Add the hidden messages in Whale's family photos. Add chapter 273. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. It's really a pity that you don't do MLM. Although Xiao Beichao was moved after hearing this, he sighed, I'd better choose futon. Chi Feng didn't expect Xiao Beichao to be so calm. He immediately took out his big move and practiced Qi Dan. Ah, why do you still have Jiden Zhu? Xiao Beichao exclaimed in surprise, his eyes finally showing excitement. My ancestor left me 2 of them. Let me give you the last one, and time water. Are these 2 things together enough to replace your futon? If Xiao Beichao doesn't agree, he will be true. There is no way. Xiao Beichao took a deep breath and glanced at the futon in front of him. This futon also has a very strong spiritual energy, but who knows how much it is. If it is gone after sitting on it, he will not die. Rather than betting on something unknown, it is better to have good conditions given by Chi Feng, because he has eaten Zujiden once, and the effect is indeed great, and there is also a heaven-defying thing like time water. Well, old man wrong, think about it, Xiao Beichao said pretentiously. Don't waste time, if you want it, you can pull it if you don't, Chi Feng said, putting things away. Don't, I'll change it. Xiao Beichao immediately rushed over, snatched the chi pill from Chi Feng's hand, and then said, give me the water of time. Chi Feng was happy in his heart, and immediately handed the prepared time water to Xiao Beichao and directly gave him the nano storage box, which was just enough to soak one person. After Xiao Beichao got the light water, he seemed to be afraid that Chi Feng would pit him. He immediately found the container and poured the time water into it. After checking it, he put it away with satisfaction. Chi Feng was also welcome, put the futon away, and the two began to divide gems and diamonds. It wasn't until 2 o'clock in Yoruichi that Chi Feng returned to his room to sleep, and then Xiao Beichao meditated and practiced in the lounge of the hot spring for one night. Early the next morning, Chi Feng helped Xiao Beichao get a house to live in, and then Chi Feng called everyone to the dining room. This place is no longer suitable for us. Old Xiao was chased after offending the king of the kingdom. As a result, the underground heroes were also driven out. They hated old Xiao and are now looking for his whereabouts. So we have to change places. Chi Feng didn't say why Xiao Beichao offended King Li, other things were basically true. After hearing this, everyone feels a little uncomfortable. They live well here, so just leave as they say they are. It's really a broom star. But they thought so in their hearts, and they wouldn't say it on the surface. This is the three emperors. If they say so, they will definitely be beaten. Then where are we going? Isn't the house here wasted? Kurosawa said reluctantly. We go to a hidden place, a place that neither the underground heroes nor the soldiers of the country can find. Chi Feng nodded and said, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Okay, when do we leave? Lan Chi felt that it didn't matter, anyway. Dark Knight Legend has a strong ability to build houses, so just rebuild it when we get to the place. I'll leave in a while, but you don't need to pack your things. I'm going to take this piece of land away together. Chi Feng tapped on the table with his hand and said. Huh? Everyone was taken aback, and the land was taken away. What do you mean? You mean, you are going to bring this piece of land along with the house hot spring field? Nishio Yang's mouth was too open. How could this be done? Yes, I will dig the ground in a while. After digging a circle around it, I can uproot it, and then take you to experience a flying castle. Chi Feng laughed. Boy, do you have the strength? Xiao Beichao didn't doubt what Chi Feng said, but it was so easy to fly with such a large piece of land. You don't have to worry about this, now go digging with me. Chi Feng immediately started to act after finishing speaking. Everyone has nothing to do with Chi Feng, so they have to dig the ground together. Of course, women don't have to work, they just look at it. After several hours of labor, the surrounding area of Chi Feng's camp has been dug. Don't move, you are going to set off. Chi Feng stood outside the camp and stretched out his hands, manipulating the air covering the bottom of the entire camp. Get up! Chi Feng shouted. Rumbling, the voice sounded, everyone could feel the underground trembling, as if it would rise from the ground at any time. Sure enough, the ground suddenly rose in the next moment, and Chi Feng suddenly felt the pressure, but was able to persist. The entire camp was suspended in the air. Chi Feng came to the bottom of the camp like a Superman, holding the camp with his hands and flew away. That's it. Chi Feng clapped his hands and can sleep comfortably today, but only if there is anyone in the wooden houses not far away. Air manipulation is really terrifying. Chi Feng adjusted the weight of the entire camp with air. Now Chi Feng is very relaxed. Using air to change the quality makes him extremely relaxed. Chi Feng flew over immediately. He already saw who lived here, the Hulk, Venom, Iron Man, Black Widow, Captain America, and Spider-Man. Chi Feng also found a wooden house in the distance. There seemed to be someone, but it was none of his business. It might be that some 5 kings and 7 sages were hiding here to live their lives. After half an hour, Chi Feng successfully put the camp in the pit, and then filled the vacant position with green lawn. My god, it really flies, Lan Chi said, covering her mouth. Old Xiao, go and see if there are anyone in those houses. Chi Feng patted Xiao Beichao on the shoulder and said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. After flying in this way for a week, Chi Feng came to the end of the Wiener forest. There are no tall trees here, only a green grassland. Chi Feng thinks it's almost the same here. No matter if it's the underground heroes or the people from the country, they don't know how to do it. Find here, you can spend the remaining months. Kurosawa Kazura had to look bitterly to investigate the situation. He took out the black ruler and walked cautiously to a place 10 meters away from the wooden house. Suddenly a red laser shot at him from the ground, and Kurosawa Kazuza reacted quickly and immediately. One kai slashed out, and a black ruler pattern rushed out, canceling out the laser. Let the old man do this kind of thing. Have you made a mistake? Xiao Beichao immediately waved his finger at Kurosawa and said, go and see. But because the flying altitude in the small world is at most 50 meters, Chi Feng can only keep the altitude at more than 40 meters, so he has been flying for several days. Chi Feng stopped to rest in the middle and then flew again. There are people living there. Kurosawa immediately noticed that there were several wooden houses in the distance, but obviously those wooden houses and Chi Feng built completely two levels, and those wooden houses are too simple. The next moment Kurosawa was hit by a big green punch and fell on the grass and vomited blood. Chi Feng slowly put the camp on the ground, and then asked everyone to come down and dig the pit together so that the camp could be pushed in. It's too strong, it's unbelievable, Ochiai Minato called out in shock. Everyone in the camp watched the surrounding scenery keep retreating. Chi Feng's speed was very fast, like riding a train. Super League people. Emma Watson's incredible transformation. Add chapter 274, meeting the Super League again. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. People from Chi Feng also ran over, staring at the group of Super League members. I didn't expect that people from the Super League would hide in this kind of place. They really would hide. Who am I talking about? It turned out to be some kittens and puppies. Venom licked his lips and said, looking back and forth on Chi Feng and the group of people. The Super League is naturally unwelcome to Chi Feng, and Chi Feng's people actually broke into their territory. The punch just now did not kill Kurosawa Yilong. It was considered good. This is our territory, you guys get out of here, Hauke said with a fist. Hoko, don't drive away the guests. Since they are here, they must be kept, Venom said immediately. The rest of the Super League members didn't speak. After all, except for Xiao Beichao and Underworld Legend, the rest of them were scumbags. Xiao Beichao is the third emperor's strength, and Underworld is also the third emperor's strength. Even if Underworld is a double quirk, the strength is comparable to Horda, and it is impossible for them to be the opponent of so many people. However, Venom wanted to see the expressions of Chi Feng after saying these words. Who knows that these people are not a bird, and they are all very indifferent. It seems that they did not see their Super League in their eyes. If it were before, people like Nishio Yuta and Wu Wanglan would definitely be scared, because the people of these super alliances are the second emperor's strength, even higher. But now it is different. The Legend of Night is already a top powerhouse, and coupled with the veteran 3 Emperor Xiao Beichao, even if there are 6 people in these super leagues, they are not necessarily the opponent of Legend of Night. Aren't you afraid of us? Venom also noticed something wrong, and the atmosphere changed slightly. Just kidding, you dare to call yourself superheroes with your strengths, but with their similar quirks, and then become a super league? Chi Feng laughed, and these super league people at this moment are also in his eyes. In this way, there is no way to threaten him. You're looking for death. Hao Ke was the most irritable and hit Chi Feng directly with a punch. You guys step back, I'll play with these guys who claim to be superheroes. Chi Feng stepped out, using his palm to block Hao Ke's big punch. People in the Super League saw Chi Feng dare to hold Hu Ke's fist with such a big palm, and sneered in their hearts. This punch of Hou Ke can easily kill the First Holy, even if the Legend of the Night is not the First Holy, and being the third Emperor, his hand bones would also break under this punch. These people in the Super League couldn't imagine that Chi Feng would become a top power in such a short period of time. In their thinking, Chi Feng is still the previous Chi Feng, and there is no change. Hao Ke's fist was a lap bigger than Chi Feng's head. With such a big fist, he seemed to have seen the scene of Chi Feng's small hand. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It seemed that Chi Feng's hand was directly interrupted, and then the whole person was knocked out. But the next moment, when Hao Ke's green fist hit Chi Feng's palm, he felt it hit a metal wall, then his body floated, and then his eyes went black. Chi Feng threw Hao Ke over his shoulder and was smashed to the ground. For a while, his eyes were completely dark. The sneer faces of these people in the Super League suddenly solidified. How could this be possible? The Dark Knight legend actually threw Hoko over his shoulder, and there was a big hole in the ground. Shouldn't Hoko break the opponent's hand with a punch? This completely subverted their thoughts, and these people froze for a while before reacting. Come on, who will be next? Chi Feng smiled. I will accompany someone. I don't care about his surname Chi Feng. He is basically undaunted now. Even if a bald man wants to kill him, it is basically impossible to deprive him of his quirk. If Chi Feng quirk is before LV8, he is bald. The man can easily take away the 2 quirks of Chi Feng. But it doesn't work anymore. Now a quirk bald man can't get it. After hearing Chi Feng's words, the faces of everyone in the Super League went dark. Is this to underestimate their Super League? Are you looking for death? Venom said one step forward. Although Chi Feng did shock him by throwing Hao Ke out just now, there are still 5 of them here. Even if Chi Feng becomes stronger these days, it is impossible. They're opponents. Chi Feng glanced at him and said, why, do you want to do 2 tricks with me? Okay, then I will meet you. Venom roared, mask. For a moment, the black liquid covered his whole body, and the venom rushed towards Chi Feng. His hands turned into 2 black scimitars, and he wanted to cut Chi Feng in half. Venom. The captain stretched out his hand to stop him, but he was a step late. He always felt that the man with sunglasses was unusual, and seemed to give him a different feeling every time he met. Don't worry, if the Venom is also defeated, we will go directly together. Iron Man opened the helmet, revealing a man with a beard, a foreigner. Let's become 2 stages. Venom quickly arrived in front of Chi Feng. Seeing that Chi Feng had no intention of avoiding, he instantly crossed his hands and cut Chi Feng into 3 stages. Ha ha ha. After severing Chi Feng, the Venom slashed again frantically and chopped Chi Feng directly into meat sauce. But the Venom didn't even see a drop of blood or even the meat. Where did the meat sauce come from? What's the matter? Venom's expression changed, and Chi Feng, who had been chopped up by him, disappeared. Fool, Lousy is behind you. Chi Feng suddenly appeared behind Venom, and hit the back of Venom's head with a punch. The Venom was like a ball being hit directly by Chi Feng. He wiped more than 10 meters of grass on the grass before it stopped, and his mouth was full of green grass. Damn it. Venom beat his hands to the ground, and he couldn't figure out why the guy he had clearly cut disappeared for no reason, and then suddenly appeared behind him. The American captain frowned. Chi Feng had indeed disappeared just now, and suddenly disappeared without any sign. Stark, can you see it? The American captain asked Iron Man. Only his steel suit has high-tech means, and he should be able to see what they can't see with the naked eye. Iron Man solemnly said, I can't see it. He is not physically invisible, but has really disappeared. I can't detect his presence on my scanner. It can be said to be very tricky. What, you can't even see it? The Black Widow's face also changed. Could that guy really turn her body into air? Thinking of air, all Super League people feel cold. Right, isn't this guy from the air quirk? Could it be that his strength can be elementalized? There has never been an air quirk in this world, and no air quirk has been elementalized, so the world does not know how terrifying the air quirk elementalization is. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertise here chapter 275 Advertise here. Little Venom, you can't beat me. Chi Feng floated in the air and sneered. How could he be his opponent if he couldn't reach him? Venom did not believe in evil, and stretched out his hands towards Chi Feng. Hundreds of black liquids turned into spikes and stuck on Chi Feng's body. Chi Feng immediately became a hornet's nest. But Chi Feng still sneered. It's useless to tell you, you can't hit me. The next moment Chi Feng appeared behind Venom, punched him in the mud again, and fell down in front of the American captain. Seeing that he fell so embarrassedly in front of the captain, the Venom became more unbearable, and his violent temper had to kill the guy. Don't go. The American captain grabbed the Venom. The Venom still wanted to move but found that it couldn't move at all. The captain's power was too great, unless he turned into a liquid to break free. I'm going to kill that guy. Venom shouted. You are not his evil opponent. He is already elementalized. If you want to fight him, you must also be elementalized, but your elementalization is far worse than his. The American captain shook his head. At this moment, the Black Widow handed Venom a small note. After Venom glanced at it, she stood up, as if she had no intention of continuing to work with Chi Feng. Chi Feng looked at these people and said, You hurt my friend, should you give me an explanation? How about we compensate your friend with $50,000? This money is enough for him to look after his illness in the hospital, and then he can be cool for a while. Spider-Man said suddenly. Do you send a beggar, little spider? Chi Feng said with disdain. How about I beat you to a broken bone and accompany you with $100,000? You? Spider-Man was almost about to do it, but remembering that Venom and Hawkeye couldn't beat this guy, what's the use of him? That's it. Chi Feng appeared behind Spider-Man as soon as he finished his words. Chi Feng hit Spider-Man's calf with a fist, and only heard "Uplook," and Spider-Man cried out in pain. When the others reacted, Chi Feng returned to his original position. My leg. Spider-Man cried out in pain. It would be impossible if he prevented him from breaking him earlier, because he could also be elementalized, turning his whole body into a spider web, so that no matter how he hits him, he won't be broken. However, Chi Feng's speed was so fast that he did not expect to break his leg in the next moment. The American captain's face sank, and he said to Starko, Starko, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Understood. Iron Man came to Spider-Man, took out a tube of potion from the iron suit, and hit Spider-Man's fractured leg. After a long time, Spider-Man stood up unharmed. Chi Feng did not continue to do it, but took out a thumb-sized gold from the space warehouse and threw it under the feet of Spider-Man. This is to compensate you. Kurosawa Yilong looks dumbfounded at these people. This is the Super League. Chi Feng killed them all by himself. The Hulk and Venom are not his opponents, they're too powerful. There are little stars in Lan Chi's eyes, he thinks Chi Feng is too manly. Do it. The American captain couldn't bear it. In an instant, the Super League side immediately took action. Chi Feng was about to play with these guys, but found that these people actually attacked the Chao Beichao group of people. Shoo! A dozen small missiles rushed towards Kurosawa Wave. Kurosawa Wave, who was injured in the first wave, couldn't move at this moment, and the rest of the people had just reacted. The two black pistols from the Black Widow's waist were pulled out, and the bullets were continuously shot out. The bullets were so dark that they contained powerful energy. Suddenly, Chi Feng stood in front of everyone. With his hands stretched out, a huge air barrier appeared, enclosing all Iron Man's dozen missiles, and was directly extinguished by the vacuum after the explosion. Black Widow's bullets do not seem to be ordinary bullets, but they are also blocked when hitting Chi Feng's air barrier. Spider-Man has already made a piece of Snow White around him. Obviously these are spider webs, trapping everyone in it, inside. Captain America went around to the other end of Chi Feng's air barrier and hit these friends of Chi Feng with a punch. Xiao Bichao's body shape flashed and came to the front of Captain America. The Buddha dust in his hand was immediately rolled out, and Captain America was swept away. His punch was resolved, but he lost a lot of dust. Chi Feng is also angry. Do these guys want to kill them all at once? It's ridiculous. The air cage. Chi Feng waved his hands and immediately erected air barriers in a radius of 500 meters, forming a square cage, exactly the same structure as a lightning cage. The air cage covered all the spider webs made by Spider-Man. Chi Feng injected a burst of air into the body of the person on his side, and then suddenly shouted, "Evaporation." The voice of Chi immediately sounded, and the spider webs all over the sky disintegrated and shrank in an instant, and then turned into filaments, while the super alliances in the air cage had already felt the pain at this moment. Temperature 100%. Chi Feng raised the temperature instantaneously, and it can only raise so much at one time. It will take some time for the temperature to rise again, but 100 degrees is enough to burn these people to death. Captain. The Black Widow yelled in pain when she fell to the ground. Her whole body was smoking white smoke, and her skin seemed to be heated. Only Iron Man here is more relaxed. He has a steel suit. At this moment, he madly rushes to the barrier of the air cage, using the red laser sword on his arm to hack continuously, trying to break the barrier. The Captain of the United States was also very tortured, but as the captain, he had to save the players. At this moment, an advanced force burst out all over his body, and he came behind Iron Man in one step and shouted, "Let me come." Iron Man immediately stepped aside, and the American captain hit the air cage with a punch, and with a click, the air cage was punched with a big hole by the American captain, and Iron Man immediately rushed out with everyone. When everyone in the Super League fell outside, Chi Feng removed the air cage, and he also spent a lot of energy. Sure enough, it's still difficult for one person to deal with so many people. Chi Feng feels that his strength is not enough. At least he has to be invincible with one enemy and 100? Do you still fight? Chi Feng pretended to be relaxed. The American captain looked at Chi Feng with trepidation. This person has grown to a point where it is hard to kill. Unless the old monsters in their Super League can deal with Chi Feng, it is impossible for them to defeat this guy. Seeing the dying feeling of the people in his team, the American captain knew that they had lost. Hauke seemed to be deprived of oxygen. He was still unconscious, and the venom could no longer fight. The black liquid had already hidden inside his own body. As for Black Widow and Spider-Man, they can no longer fight. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. What is the most common plastic surgery in Korea? Ad exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles ad.